fantastic job of my brother Marcus Bass and his team, also in ensuring that we are ready for today's activities. So with that, I want to welcome you to the 11th annual North Carolina Divine Nine Legislative Day. And it would turn off when I start reading. All right. A powerful gathering where our collective legacy definitely meets a renewed sense of purpose given our current political climate. This year, under the theme, Forging Our Future Together, Mobilizing for Maximum Impact, we stand at a critical juncture with the opportunity to transform our shared vision into tangible progress for our communities. There's an unmistakable energy in our unity. You know, we talked about it last night. We're definitely better together. So with that, we move forward with an unwavering determination and a heart full of optimism. Let us remember that while the stakes are high, our capacity for leadership, individually and collectively, is even higher. We are the architects of a more equitable future if we do the work. So with that, again, I welcome you, and let's have a great day. Thank you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, we know that it's a cool April, North Carolina morning right now. But check it out. Hey, we finna warm this place up. We got too many beautiful people out here, and these colors are smashing right now. So let's warm this body up right now because we're here for a reason, right? So distinguished guests, in a moment that demands urgency and unity, especially in the wake of our pivotal midterm elections, we are reminded that advocacy is not an option. It is essential. Today, we are guided by two servant leaders of our own working group, two people that for years have amplified the voices of North Carolina's underserved and marginalized. One is steadfast and an advocate, a jurist who uses her platform not just to adjudicate, but to also educate and uplift. The other is a very, very dedicated ice cold brother that reflects the spirit of action and accountability in a moment that this requires. So, without further ado, it is my honor to introduce our host for today's activities. Please join me in welcoming Brother Richard Moore from Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and our very own Judge Shamika Reinhardt from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Whose phone is this? That's your phone. Okay. Thank you. Okay. You introduce us, and then we'll bring up Stormy. You go first.
Hey, good morning and welcome again. My name is Richard Moore. I'm with Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and it's good to see all of y'all here. One of the things we do want to get out of the way is part of the welcome is that as far as facilities are concerned, there are some portable restrooms at the end of the building over here. You can't go in because that's an employee building, and then we may have access to the legislative building over here where the offices are. But it's good to see you this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, y'all look fantastic in your beautiful colors. I am Judge Shamika Reinhardt, and I am proud to be one of your hosts, and I am from the Alpha Zeta Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Thank you. And so before we get started, we do want to welcome Stormy Forte, who is coming up to give greetings from Wake County City Council. Good morning, everyone. You would think with a name like Stormy, I would be able to do a little something about the weather in Raleigh, right? I'm sorry I missed the memo. I messed that up for y'all. But again, my name is Stormy Ford. I serve on the Raleigh City Council, and I wanted to bring you greetings on behalf of the mayor and the other members of the City Council, and also talk to you about the power of the Divine Nine, and give you some examples about how the Divine Nine is working in great force within the city of Raleigh and in Wake County. So again, I serve on the city council. Of course, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. My colleague, good morning, sorors. My colleague, Corey Branch, is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, and he serves in District C. Our city manager, Marshall Adams David, is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Our city attorney is Karen McDonald, who's also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Our chief of staff, Michelle Millette, is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Our chief of police, Rico Boyce, is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Our fire chief, Hubert Griffin, is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Our assistant city manager, Evan Raleigh, is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And then when we switch over to Wake County, we've got County Commissioner Shanika Thomas. I'm not sure she's here today. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. County Commissioner Tara Ward is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. The county manager, David Ellis, is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Then when we go to the school board, we've got Christina Gordon, who's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Our superintendent of schools is Dr. Robert Taylor, who's a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. We've got a number of judges that serve in Wake County. Judge Vince Rozier is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Judge Craig Kroom is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Judge Ashley Parker is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Judge David Baker is a member of Phi Beta Sigma. And Judge Damon McCullers is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And then when we go to our legislative delegation, we've got James Roberson, who's a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. We've got Monica Johnson Hostler, who's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. You got Abe Jones, who's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And then you've got Dan Blue, who's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated as well. Now, some other folks who are in the city of Raleigh, but on another level, how many people know Mo Green is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and he's our state superintendent of schools. I don't know if you know Kevin Howell, who is the former student body president of NC State and the current chancellor of NC State, but he's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated as well. I think we've got former Supreme Court Justice Mike Morgan, who's with us today, who's a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Beasley, is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I'm not sure if he's here today. We've had several other members who served at the Council of State level. Jessica Holmes was the first black female to serve on the Council of State, a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Little known, we've got a couple of businesses in the city of Raleigh that are also owned by members of the Divine Nine. So if you've got time for lunch today, if you go down to Flavor Hills, they're owned by several men of Omega. And a little known fact, there's one Mako automobile repair service in the entire country owned by a black person, and that is actually a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated in the entire nation. So I say to you today that the Divine Nine is doing a lot of very impactful work right here in the city of Raleigh, as well as across the state of North Carolina. And I will give a shout out to one of my very new sorors who's not with us today, but the only female sheriff in the state of North Carolina who's a black female who actually just became a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority last week. Sheriff Paula Dance is also serving. So thank you so much for being here today, and hopefully it'll warm up for you pretty quick.
Let's keep this thing going.
All right. Now, Sister Reinhardt, before we get started, we need to see who's in the house.
Do you mean a roll call?
Yes, I do.
All right.
And when you hear your beloved organization's name, will you please stand and recognize yourself in any kind of way? Now, as we get started here, I'm going to take a little privilege here with this first group. All right, the weather's a little cool, but on December the 4th, 1906, it was much colder than this. Are the ice cold brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity in the house?
Well, I'm going to take a personal privilege as well. Are the lovely ladies of my sorority who wear the lovely pink and the green of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority in the house?
Oh, boy. They are in the house. Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Are there any smooth brothers, some with red watches, of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated in the house? All right. Are there any distinguished gentlemen, the Bruds of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity in the house?
Are the beautiful women who wear the red and the white, the devastating members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated in the house?
Where are the men of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity who wear the royal blue and pure white? Are you all in the house?
Are there any finer ladies who wear the royal blue and the white of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated in the house? And where are the poodles who wear the gold and the blue for Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated in the house?
And last, but certainly not least, can the outstanding brothers who wear the brown and the gold of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, will you please stand? All right, all right.
Let's go to the...
Yep. Yep. Okay. Now, Sister Reinhardt, we have taken the roll and we know who's present today. So let's get down to the business of the day, shall we?
Yes, we shall. This year, 2026, marks many years of us having the Divine Nine North Carolina Legislative Day, where we as brothers and sisters of the Divine Nine stand on business that affects our communities politically and civically.
We have seen a lot of changes coming out of Washington. We have also witnessed some of the proposed legislation in our General Assembly. And what we're seeing is quite frankly concerning, to say it mildly. We're finding it more true than ever that together we are stronger.
And with that being said, this year's theme is Forging Our Future Together, Mobilizing for Maximum Impact.
So at this time, we'll have remarks and greetings from the Divine Nine leadership. We'll first start with my brother, Louis Co. Holland, who is the North Carolina District Director of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
I'm back. Again, so greetings again on behalf of Lucien J. Metellus, our General President, Brother Matthew S. Bradford, our Southern Regional Vice President, and our Assistant Regional Vice President, Brother Devontae Roll. I greet you as we unite under the legislative theme, Forging Together, Mobilizing for Maximum Impact. To add on to what I shared in the opening, you know, we navigate a landscape filled with challenges. We're dealing with gerrymandered congressional maps, the shifting tides of our political infrastructure here in the state and nationally. But one thing that remains constant and foundational to Alpha's infrastructure is a voteless people, is a hopeless people. One of our signature national programs. Since 1930, this program has served as the primary vehicle for voter education, registration, and political empowerment, ensuring that our communities are not just heard, but can be a force that cannot be ignored. The impact of mobilization is already clear. Those that are following along understand that when we vote, individuals like Phil Berger are removed from office. So that very salient point is the reason why voting is key. It truly will shift the trajectory of our future. Our work is not finished. Our vigilance and steadfastness are required now more than ever as we try to protect the rights of those who are underserved. So in this season of action, I ask that we commit and recommit to the work before us by educating every voter and securing every ballot. We can ensure that the maximum impact that we talk about in this year's theme is a reality for the communities that we serve. To the elected officials that are present here, we greet you as well, and let us have a great day. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to call up my marvelous Mid-Atlantic Regional Director, Nadine Vargas Stewart.
Good morning. Good morning. I am honored to bring you greetings on behalf of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, our international president and CEO, Danette Anthony Reed, and the marvelous Mid-Atlantic region. We are 15,000 strong, and we serve the great state of North Carolina and the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's truly a privilege to stand before you and this distinguished body of leaders as we advocate and gather for Divine Nine Legislative Day. This moment is more than a convening. It's a continuation of a powerful legacy, a legacy rooted in service, strengthened by unity, and driven by our shared commitment for justice, equality, and opportunity for all. Now, as members of the Divine Nine, we understand that our collective voice carries influence and also responsibility. We are not only witnesses to change, but we are the architects of it. Our presence here affirms that we are engaged, we are informed, and ready to take action on issues that impact our communities every day. And while, yes, Alpha Kappa Alpha may have recently encountered an exchange that felt more trick than treat, okay? Let me be clear. We will not allow a single incident to overshadow 118 years of service, scholarship, and certainly not our sisterhood. Our legacy is far too rich, our impact is far too great, and our bond is far too strong. Our resolve is unbreakable, unshakable, and proven time and time again as we continue to help elect leaders and shape the future of our communities. In the Mid-Atlantic region, we are intentional about translating service into impact. We recognize that public policy shapes outcomes in education, healthcare, economic advancement, and civil rights. That is why we remain committed to advocacy that is thoughtful, strategic, and sustained. Today, I encourage each of us to lean into the power of this collective. Let us use our voices to uplift, our platforms to inform, and our influence to drive meaningful change. Together, we represent a force grounded in legacy, united in purpose, and unwavering in our commitment to progress. Thank you, and in the spirit of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, we remain supreme in service to all mankind. Thank you.
At this time, let us welcome Dr. LaSalle Webley, Jr., Middle Eastern Province Polemark, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Incorporated.
If you see my shoulders shake, I'm not shimmying, just trying to shake the chills off. On behalf of our international president, Jimmy McMichael, and all of the members of Kappa Alpha Psi in the Middle Eastern Province, good morning. Good morning. Let me start like this. 519 days ago, while many of us were committed to our civic duty, there were many more of us whose feet were asleep. And we can see in the days since the price that we're all paying. I think it's pretty clear that what we need to do 209 days from now So instead, I will focus on what we need to do leading up to that day. And that is all of us as a community are needed to stand in the gap. When the day comes that we see entities purposely attempt to erase the history from the books across the land, we must stand in the gap to recount our achievements of our forefathers through our reading programs. When the day comes that we see entities eliminate grants for after-school programs, we must stand in the gap to guide youth through our mentoring programs. When the day comes that we see entities cut funding for programs that enhance the social and cultural skills of young people, we must stand in the gap. When the day comes that we see entities harass young people based on the color of their skin and not by the deeds of their actions, we must stand in the gap to ensure that our youth have the tools necessary to safely address law enforcement. When the day comes that we see entities intentionally attempt to place hurdles in the way of our people's access to education, we must stand in the gap to support our youth through our scholarship programs. When the day comes that we see entities who are supposed to protect the least of us, but select to limit healthcare options for our people, we must stand in the gap to donate funds to organizations that provide care. When the day comes that we see entities who are supposed to represent us choose to withdraw political maps for the purpose of silencing our voice, we must stand in the gap to lead souls to the polls through our voter registration initiatives. And when the day comes that we see people being mentally and emotionally burdened by the stresses of the world, we must stand in the gap to ensure we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers, regardless of what colors they wear, if they wear colors at all. Between now and November 3rd, our communities need us to unify and to stand in the gap. Thank you.
Now, let us welcome Cedric Lucky, who is the district representative for the North Carolina and South Carolina district of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Good morning, and good morning. Before I bring you greetings, I will say this. I am not cold. That is only a state of mind. Once again, good morning. My name is Cedric M. Lucky. I serve as the 44th 6th District Representative of the Mighty 6th District that comprises of the states of North and South Carolina. I bring you greetings on behalf of our grand bosses, Brother Ricky L. Lewis, our Supreme Council, the executive team, and the brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. At this time, will the brothers of the purple and gold please stand? We are here to continue to fight for justice for our brothers and sisters of color, forging our futures together, mobilizing for maximum impact is very critical. We have to take this message back to our chapter members, church members, our neighbors, to those who cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel, and for those who are following the wrong light as we go today. This is a race of endurance and perseverance, but we have to stay focused, not become distracted by the everyday nonsense that we are encountering on a daily basis. We must be the example for others to see and to follow. We must spread the word that every opportunity to vote is an opportunity for change. Your voice is not heard if you continue to sit on the sideline. We must finish the task with our voting procedure and power. We must first have to believe that we have that power for change. Register that one to vote and eliminate all reasons or excuses for that one not to perform his or her duty in the action of voting. Forging our future together, mobilizing and maximum impact is our goal. And as I stand before you today, letting you know that it is not cold and it's not an excuse for me not to come before you this morning, use the same example to those who say, well, my vote does not count. Let them go out there, vote, and make themselves count. Thank you. Brothers, you may be seated.
I bring up Telia Virgin, the North Carolina Social Action Coordinator of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Come on, Sister Virgin.
Good morning. You know, I gotta put on my glasses. I bring you greetings from our international president and chairman of the board, Cheryl W. Turner. Greetings from the sensational South Atlantic Region's regional director, Pamela Murphy Lewis, and our regional representative, Madison Manley. Good morning. I am Talia Virgin, your North Carolina Social Action Coordinator. I proudly bring you greetings on behalf of the South Atlantic region of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, which encompasses Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. My divine 9 brothers and sisters, let me be clear. Mobilization is not an option. It is essential. It is urgent. It is who we are as a people. This is a defining moment, a crucial election year. Decisions are made. Right now, this is what's going to shape our education, our health care, economic justice, voting rights, and the very future of our families. And in this moment like this, neutrality is not an option. Silence is not an option. Sitting on the sidelines is not an option. Delta gave us marching orders in DC. They told us 1 Delta, 1 mission, 1 strategy. We are called to lead. We stand on the shoulders of trailblazers, men and women who refuse to be silent, who refuse to accept injustice, who organized, who mobilized, who demanded change. They didn't wait, they didn't waver, and neither can we. As Sarah Shirley Chisholm declared, leadership is not following public opinion. It is about the vision of what is necessary and the courage to make it happen. So the question today is not if we will act. The question is how boldly will we act? Because today is not just a gathering. Today is a call to action, a moment to align our power, our voices, our purpose, and to create measurable, impactful change in our communities and across this nation. Each of us has influence. Each of us has a platform. And when the Divine 9 moves together, organized, focused, and unified, there's nothing we can't change. So today, I challenge you. Don't just be inspired, be activated. Don't just listen, mobilize. Don't just talk, organize, educate, advocate, move people to action. This is now our time. The stakes are high, and the responsibility is ours. Thank you. Let's get to work.
Okay. On behalf of Rashard Baird, State Director, we'll have Simon Akimi representing Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Simon Akami of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and I'm here to stand in the gap for my state director, Brother Rashard Baird. And before I proceed, protocol got to be established. I bring you greetings from our 37th International President, the Honorable Brother David Turner, and the 22nd Regional Director of the Super Southeastern Region. And at this time, I need all brothers of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated to please rise with me as we recognize Brother Patrick Ward, the 22nd Southeastern Regional Director. Thank you, brothers. You may be seated. Right now, everyone, decisions are being made. Some of us could have been at work, we should have been somewhere else, but we made a decision to be here at Legislative Day. because we know and we understand that this is important to us. As leaders in our community, in our society, in our church, and in our schools, we have to stand in the gap. This is not a time to be silent. I've personally heard some people say, well, this event doesn't really count, it's just a photo op. Yeah, we've heard it. But we have to stand in the gap. We have to speak up and make sure that our voice doesn't shake, no matter how cold it gets. We've also seen the implications of legislation such as Leandro versus the state of North Carolina versus Leandro, and how it affects equality in education across the states. I know some of us are in education here. I know we understand how funding and lack of funding affects the quality of education in our community. But I'm grateful for the work that members of the Divine and community do in our society, such as the Honorable, my brother, Dr. Dudley E. Flood, and the work he does with the Center for Equity and Equality in Education. We could clap, it's okay. My brothers, we've seen the shift in election policies from the national, and we've seen some national decisions made on Twitter talking about eliminating the whole civilization. And some of these decisions will be made, unfortunately, with or without us. So this is why it is important. We have to be in those spaces. We have to speak up. And if we don't take our rightful space at the table, how could we advocate for our community? Right here in the state of North Carolina, the State Board of Elections has undergone major changes in leadership and direction, shifting control and influence of how elections are administered across 100 counties. We have seen real debates around the early voting, including decisions to reduce the Sunday voting and limit access to polling sites. These are decisions that affect working families, students, and our communities. And in these rooms, in those critical moments, we have also seen brothers, members of the D9 community, like my brother Jeff Carman. Where's Jeff at? Standing in the gap once again and advocating for us. I appeal to every one of us. This is not the time to be silent. This is not the time to be quiet. Before we mobilize voters, we also have to educate our voters. Why does our vote count? Why does the primary election count? Who is on the ballot? And I'll go ahead and say every election starts locally. We have to look around and ask, who represents you? Who is speaking for you? That is very, very important. And I understand we are given 2 minutes. I'll be respectful of everyone's time. Time value. So when decisions are made about education, voting access, about community economic opportunity, we need to be in these rooms. My brothers and sisters, I do not have a red watch, but I know it's time for action. Thank you, everyone, and God bless us.
At this time, we call up Dr. Veronica L. Seals, the State Director of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, members of the Divine Nine. On behalf of our international president and CEO, Dr. Stacy N.C. Grant, our Eastern Regional Director, Amelia Hunt Burchett, the North Carolina Executive Board, and over 2,500 members that represent this great state of North Carolina, of our sorors, Amici, Youth, and Zeta Male Network, we bring you greetings. It's an honor to stand before you today as we gather for this legislative day. It's a day that's not only ceremonial, but it's consequential. This day reminds us that our letters are not just symbols of sisterhood and brotherhood. They are symbols of service, sacrifice, and decades of sustained advocacy.
Today, we show up not simply as members of historic organizations, but as a collective force for progress. A force rooted in courage, grounded in family and in community, and committed to ensuring that the voices of our communities are not only heard, but respected, protected, and represented. In this season, that commitment and our vote matters more than ever. Across North Carolina, our communities are experiencing rapid change. Changes in policy, changes in access, changes in resources, changes that are creating challenges even today, and changes that will shape the future of our children, our families, and our neighborhoods. We are here today because we understand that when we exercise our God-given rights and get out to vote, policies shift, lives are impacted. When we force systems to change, our communities are protected. And when decisions are made, our voices must be present. You see, advocacy is not just organizational work, at least not for me. It's personal. I remember growing up that my mother, who's a retired public servant, would tell me all my life, Veronica, don't let anyone disrespect you. Open your mouth and speak up for yourself. That simple lesson is the call to action today. It's a reminder that silence has never secured justice. It's a reminder that standing up for our rights is not optional. It is our responsibility. In Zeta, we exercise this responsibility through the power of SHE, social, health, and economic justice. Social justice, meaning protecting dignity and expanding opportunity. Health justice, ensuring equitable access so that everyone in the family receives care, regardless of zip code, regardless of socioeconomic background, regardless of skin color or education. Everyone has the chance to live and thrive. Economic justice means building pathways to financial stability and creating sustainable futures for everyone. Y'all, this work is not new to us. Advocacy is woven in our history. Service is embedded in our DNA. And justice is the standard that we refuse to compromise on. Because we sit here today on the shoulders of ancestors who were relentless in the fight for basic human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, we were built for this moment. As members of the Divine Nine, we have always stood at the intersection of service and policy, where community needs meet legislative action. Just reflect on the founding years of our organizations that we so proudly represent. We have never, ever waited for change. We have organized it, advocated for it, and led it. So today, let our presence send a clear message. We are educated. We are informed. We are engaged. We are accountable to the communities we represent, because in times of change, silence is not an option, and unity is our strength. We are better together. Today, let it be a demonstration of our collective power and a reminder that advocacy is not an event, it is a responsibility. Thank you for your leadership, your service, and your commitment. And thank you for the work of advocacy that defines who we are and the future we are determined to protect. Thank you.
Next up, we call Nashana Cass, the Northeastern Legislative Action Chair of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
Good morning, everyone. I am Nashana Cass, the Legislative Action Chair for the Northeastern region of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. And on behalf of the notable Northeastern region, I proudly bring greetings on behalf of our Regional Director, Syntacti's Dawn Stanton. And I am honored to recognize our second in command, our UCC, Demetria Smith, who is back there, and along with our Area 3 Coordinator, Janelle Curry. As we stand here united with our Divine Nine family, let me be clear. Today is not performative. It is about collective power. We did not come here just to be seen. We came to be heard, to be felt. And most importantly, we came to influence policy. What happens here must live beyond today. So I challenge every person here, do not let today end as a moment. Make it a movement. Ask the hard questions, build relationships, follow up, and track bills. Mobilize your chapters, your friends, your family, and your community. Turn today into measurable action. Our communities do not need symbolism. They need strategy, they need advocacy, they need action. So leave here today energized, leave here today equipped, and above all, leave here today ready to work. Let's make this day impossible to forget. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, let us welcome to the podium Kevin Clayton, Eastern Region Polaris, Iota Phi Theta Fraternity, Incorporated. Okay. Excuse me, we're going to have Orlando Grant come in his behalf.
Good morning, good morning. I'm a Bible-believing gentleman, and the Bible teaches us in Matthew 23, if you have aught against someone, you go to that person. So, brothers of Alpha, I have aught against you this morning, because when I leave this great state of Ohio, and it's colder here in North Carolina than it is in Ohio, we got to have a question. So, understanding that I am honest, I am not Brother Clayton, but I do thank Brother Clayton for allowing me to be here. My name is Orlando Grant, and I serve as the 24th International Grand Polaris of our great and amazing organization called Iota Phi Theta. So, yeah, so I thank you very much, my brothers, for allowing me to be here with you this morning, this very chilly morning. So on behalf of the brothers of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, it is both an honor and a pleasure to come here and bring you greetings from all of our brothers across this vast area, not only here in North Carolina, but throughout this entire footprint. To the distinguished guests, elected officials, and Divine Nine partners, our community leaders and friends, thank you for your presence and your purpose in being here this morning. We understand the significance of the moment, not just here in North Carolina, but across this nation. Today is just a reminder that our voices need to be heard in the ballot box. Our engagement must be visible in the rooms where we have elected officials representing us. And we must understand the power of mobilization, not post you getting registered, not post these conversations, but getting folks to the ballot box. We have a responsibility. This is not performative, as they said. This is not a photo op. But when November hits, we need to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to make sure folks understand the importance of what this participation in a democracy represents. This is not new work to us, but it's necessary work. Because if we're all honest, our very organizations that we represent here today were all founded during these turbulent times. Our founders were fighting the same battles that we're fighting today. These moments in history, the uncertainty of injustice and the inequity that we demands the courage that we need to see at this moment. So I call onto all of you to get active, to get engaged. And while we gather here as guests, friends, and our Divine Nine brothers and sisters, we also must acknowledge the simple truth that these turbulent times that we faced back in our founding days are right in front of us as we speak. So the Brothers of Iota Phi Theta, who was founded in 1963 during the Civil Rights Movement, a time when young men and young women stood up boldly in the gap, committed to not just brotherhood, but the social actions that needed to be changed, our civic engagement, and to uplift our communities, we are in this moment again today. So here we stand, a different year, a different challenge, but the same responsibility. What is that responsibility? A responsibility to lead, a responsibility to serve, and a responsibility to act. So today, let's not just gather for the sake of gathering, but as a call to action. Let us strengthen our resolve to engage intentionally, to advocate unapologetically, and to ensure that our legacy that we inherited is not only preserved, but is advanced. Because of our history is watching, and the next generation is depending on us and what we do not only today, not only tomorrow, but forever. So thank you very much for welcoming us. We look forward to these engagements, and we look forward to moving this work collectively stronger together. As me and my fellow colleague and your president say, D9 stronger together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Our final leadership greeting will come from my brother, Alan Younger, of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, who is a National Panhellenic Council National Board member and also National Panhellenic Council President of the National Panhellenic Council of the Greater Raleigh area. Let us welcome him.
Hello, everybody. Everyone who is a member of the National Panhellenic Council of the Greater Raleigh area, please stand. Now, I know the NPHC in Fayetteville brought a bus, and the NPHC in Charlotte brought a bus, but I'm assured that we have more people here than they do. Okay, well, we're going to figure that out. Y'all can go ahead and sit down. I'm so honored to bring you greetings on behalf of the NPHC of the Greater Raleigh area that has more people here than any other municipality. I'm also glad to bring you greetings from Frater Michael Kinlock, who's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, who serves as the president of the National Executive Board of the NPHC. I serve as the National Chair of Collegiate Councils, and I'm so happy that you all are here. Y'all look good. Y'all look real good. So I'm so excited that you're here. I'm excited. If I haven't taken a picture with you, there's a problem. We're going to change that. That's a big thing that I do. I want to make sure all of you get credit for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming from wherever you came from. And I see many more scarves and people cuddled together that I didn't expect to see. I'm going to get out of your way in just a minute, but let me say, I look good too. And so y'all should take a picture and send it to me. This is a new tie that I'm wearing. Y'all like it, right? But I'm so happy that we're here not just to have fellowship and see each other and take pictures, but we're here because we believe that there's work to be done. And so we're going to keep doing that work. And so thank you for all the great work that you're all doing. Continue to do great work individually, and we're stronger together. Collaboration matters, right? Yes. Amen. Thank you.
All right, at this time we're going to have greetings from the executive branch, and I would like to call up the Honorable Jeff Jackson, our Attorney General of North Carolina.
Good to see you. Good morning. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I bring you good news. I just checked the weather. In a few hours, it's going to be in the 60s. Divine Nine, you bring the heat. We appreciate you. I want to begin by acknowledging the presence of North Carolina Supreme Court Justice Anita Earls is with us. Madam Justice, honored to see you. Listen, it is wonderful that you are here. I served in the building behind us for several years, and everybody knew when Divine Nine was showing up. If there is any question about whether this is worth the effort, worth the travel, worth the time away from family and work, I assure you it is. Your presence in that building is about to be felt in a very strong way. And that's why you're here. And I just got to say, I'm under explicit instructions not to play favorites among the Divine Nine. Okay, so just at the outset, to be clear, all 9, all divine, all necessary. But my general counsel, Stephanie Robinson, is here, and she is a devastating diva in every sense of the term. Last year, when I spoke to you, I was your brand new Attorney General, and I talked to you about the things that I was going to do. Now I come back to you as a guy who's been on the job for a minute. I'm going to tell you real quick what I've done. When the federal government tried to come to us and take $165 million for public schools, we took them to court and we won. When they came to us and tried to take $200 million for health care in our state, we took them to court and we won. When they tried to take $200 million in SNAP funding that would have gone to 600,000 kids and 40,000 babies in our state, we took them to court and we won. When they tried to take $200 million in FEMA funds for our state, we took them to court and we won. Y'all, we're up to $1.6 billion of your taxpayer money that we have protected and kept here in North Carolina. And we are not going to stop. We are, as so many speakers have said, we are there to stand in the gap, to be a shield for you and this entire state against those who may mean you harm. And hear me on this, we are going to keep our elections free and fair in North Carolina. We're going to defend your constitutional rights. And we're going to make sure that all voices are heard in this state as they deserve to be. And when I see you next year, I will update you on what we have done between now and then. Have a wonderful afternoon. Take care.
All right, now we're going to have greetings from the judicial branch, the Honorable Justice Anita Earls of the North Carolina Supreme Court.
Good morning, Divine Nine. Good morning. I am so honored to be here today. As you think about the legislature, I am so glad you've remembered the importance of the courts. And what I want you to know is that right now I am the only person of color on our 7-member North Carolina Supreme Court. I was first elected in 2018, which means I'm on your ballot this year in 2026. And if my opponent wins, we will have an all-white North Carolina Supreme Court. But more fundamentally, I wish I could come up here and give you the report of all that I have achieved, but unfortunately I'm in the minority. And I think you know what that means. That means I'm writing a lot of dissents. I do remember the last time I came here, it was with our former Chief Justice Sherry Beasley, the first African-American woman to serve as Chief Justice on our court. And you will remember that she lost her election by 401 votes. And so as I look out over all of you, I know that you can bring in more than 401 votes. And that's what we're going to have to do in 2026. But let me just tell you quickly what our court has done. Because in 2022, I was part of the majority that said that extreme partisan gerrymandering violates your rights under the state constitution. I was part of the majority that said a voter ID requirement that was passed with the intent of discriminating against black voters in this state is unconstitutional. I was part of the majority that said if the state won't adequately fund our public schools in the Leandro case, it's the court's responsibility to order that those funds be spent, and we did. But then there was an election. New court took power, reversed all of those decisions, put a halt to those funds, and last Thursday, over 3 years later, our court issued an opinion in the Leandro case. And the media has been telling you that the court said, well, it's not the court's responsibility to decide education policy. And I agree that the legislature has a role to play in deciding education policy. But what was at stake in the Leandro case are children's rights. And it is absolutely the role of the court to enforce those rights. When landowners' property is taken, our court has ordered that the government pay money to them to compensate them. We don't say, oh, it's up to the General Assembly to decide transportation policy. No, if the DOT wants to build a road over your property, the court will enforce your rights. And I say the same is true with our children's right to a sound basic education. The same is true with your right to vote. And never forget, I sit on a court where 4 members of that court ruled that the votes of military and overseas voters would be thrown out, right? People who put on a uniform to serve our country, it was only because a federal court stepped in and said, no, you can't do that. You can't change the rules of the election after the election. So we know what we face. We know that you deserve a court that will enforce your rights, and we know that all the power is in your hands. It will take your efforts between now and November to spread the word to our communities about why our courts matter, why their vote makes a difference, and why they have the power to ultimately get back to a court that will provide justice. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to working with you throughout the next few months so that we do have a North Carolina Supreme Court that represents your interests and defends your rights and freedoms. Thank you.
I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege and also recognize one of our former justices who served with distinction on the North Carolina Supreme Court, and that's Justice Mike Morgan. Stand up. And do we have any other judges in the House that serve? I think I saw Judge Cherry Siler Matt, who also serves. Judges are important. Right. Yeah. All right, so at this time, I want to bring up Senator Candy Smith to bring greetings. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
They trying to act like I'm tall. I am in spirit. Good morning. I pray that everyone is feeling warm on the inside because it's very cold out here. But guess what? It's going to be colder if we don't get what we need. And I ain't talking about ice, baby. You feel me? So it is an honor to be here to welcome you to the General Assembly, to welcome you to the Divine Nine Day. Now, you know how strongly I feel about the advocacy that we should be doing. You know how strongly I feel about the advocacy that our community expects us to do. We are the leaders. We educate. We make sure that they know what's happening. But if we don't know what's happening, then we're blind leading the blind, right? So while you're here, take advantage to learn every single thing that you can. And I will always say, if you're not going to do the work, don't wear the colors. We don't care what color it is. I don't care if you're shimmying and shaking and hopping and icing. We don't care none of that. If you're not going to do the work, and you know what the Divine Nine is known for, we are known for our service, right? We are known for uplifting our communities, right? We are known to make sure that we're moving things forward. We can't do it without you. So don't wear the colors without doing the work. God bless you.
Amen. Amen. Let the church say amen. So we're going to call up one of my favorites, Representative Robert Reeves of the Smooth Brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, who will bring us some greetings. Good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing? Good to see you. Get greetings.
I tell you. Lord, this messed me up. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I was over here waiting on something else. One of my good Alpha brothers
had me all messed up on the program, so I apologize for the delay. My name is Robert Reeves. I am the House Democratic leader, proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Kappa Alpha Psi. All right. Now we can get it started. I'm messing around. So, I'm just saying. Can't we get more noise from the cues? Come on now. But I want to welcome you all for being here. Thank you all for your advocacy and for your time. I love what one of the young ladies said earlier, that we talked about you're built for this. And I'm going to tell you, you are more than built for this. You have been bred for this. Because you are the descendants of the most powerful fighting force this world has ever known. Because you are the descendants of the survivors. You are the descendants of those that survived the Middle Passage. You are the descendants of those who went through the most brutal acts of slavery that this world has ever known. You are the descendants of the people that once they got here, they were put in the cotton fields. They were put in the sugarcane fields. Life expectancy in a sugarcane field was 5 years. Not 15, not 50, 5 years. And the people over there were fine with that. But you are the descendants of those that survived. So when I ask who you are, I want you to remember that that's who you are. You have survived the lynchings. You have survived the church bombings. You survived the executions without trial. You have survived all that these people have had to throw at you, and you're going to survive now. But for us to survive, we got to act like we're survivors. Because what we can't do is lay down now. I'm going to tell you what somebody should have told Venezuela. You don't get to choose when you go to war. Sometimes the war just shows up. And that is what has happened to us. We have been asking for at least somebody to pay attention and say, we belong and we're okay. Then we just said, can you just leave us alone? They won't even just leave you alone. Last Divine 9 Day, they spent all their time passing DEI bills, saying that you don't deserve to be in places just because of how you look. There's a challenge to whether or not you should be somewhere. They are taking money out of your pockets to give to their friends. The money we need for education, the money we need for health care. Your tax money is going to go pay for a $58 million wedding for Jeff Bezos. That's where your money is. Your money is hiring their kids who aren't qualified. Your money is going to take care of their friends and their families as they live off your dollar. And the time for that to stop has to be now. So what I ask you to do is, as you remember from whence you came, as you remember who you are and what you are, I want you to remember why our organizations were built. Our organization started on HBCUs, but immediately they went to PWIs because we needed protection. We needed homes. We needed brotherhood. We needed sisterhood. We needed to know there was somewhere we could go that was always going to be safe. And they're trying to take that. So what you've got to do is show them the power that you have. And the power is not just in the work. It's not good enough to vote just this year. That's not it. That's not your job. You should already know that's your job. That's just like waking up in the morning. No, your job is to find where you're going to soldier and where you're going to fight. Because we will not win this by ourselves. And the good thing is we aren't by ourselves. We have white brothers, white sisters, brown brothers and sisters, Asian brothers and sisters, everybody who believes that we all deserve a piece of this pie. There ain't but one group that says we shouldn't. So it's about time that we show that group who we are. You have got the power of your economics. You have got the power of your minds. You've got the strength of your constitution. Put all of those into play. And so I can't wait to hear the ask that all of you have of us, but I got one ask of you. Before you leave here today, you find somebody. There's a QR code that will be coming up all day. We're not doing this to have fun. We're doing this so that you can tell us how you're going to help us fight. And for those of you that feel overworked, think of it like this. If all of us sign up, that's less work for all of us to do. More good that we can spread. But if you leave here today and you have not signed your name and said what you're going to do, then there was no point in us being here today. Because the people who ought to be hearing you, they're not here. And they're not going to be here. But they're going to hear you as you're knocking on their doors. They're going to hear you when you're calling on the phones. They're going to hear you when you find out that they're the ones financing your downfall and you stop spending your money with them. They're going to hear you, but they got to hear you. So please sign up. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for all of the leadership that you continue to show in our communities, because if we lead, others will follow. Thank you.
All right, and the QR code is on the screen. I'm going to call up Senator Natalie Murdoch for a special presentation. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
All right. Good morning to D9 family. Give yourselves a hand. This is a phenomenal turnout, so let's give it up to the D9 family on this morning. North Carolina State Senator Natalie Murdoch, honored to be here to honor others. I don't know about you, but we are losing too many of our legends. We will hear from the son of the great Reverend Jesse Jackson on today, and we have just lost too many of our legends. And I don't know about you, but we need to honor them and give them their roses while they are still here to smell them. We got to do that today. So honored, and I'm going to ask my legislative colleagues that are able to come and join me as we do a special presentation to one of our very own as they come up. We are honored on this morning to honor our living legend, Yvonne Lewis Holly, on today. She is living Raleigh royalty, a proud Howard graduate. She will remind you of that often. My soror, a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, former member of the North Carolina House, a woman of faith, service, and sisterhood, former procurement in the Department of Administration, was our candidate for lieutenant governor, and we would be much better off as a state had she won that election and served us as lieutenant governor. When she served, you never had to wonder where she was because you always saw her in the community. She was rooted in community. That's how she trained me to be a legislator. Was honored to be here to present her with this on today. She mentors so many women that are running for office, folks like me that are currently serving. When we lost the late, great Representative Marianne Black, I called her and I said, Representative Holly, I need you. I said, I have lost the person that was going to help me figure this out. So without further ado, Miss Yvonne Lewis Holly, we are just so honored to honor you as you are still not only here with us, still have a lot more to give. And we are honored to be here with you as you continue to serve our great state. So we'll have her provide a few words as we present her with this honor.
I got a phone call last night, said, can you be here at 10 o'clock? I had no idea. I would have worn my Alpha chapter, Delta Sigma Theta red today. But I borrowed a jacket, so, I'm delighted to be here today. And I have to say, it is so good to see everybody out here. We have so many issues. I just want to say three things. First of all, yes, everything they said, get your legislators, get out here and work, and let's get the vote out. Number two, have fun along the way. Enjoy it. One of the things they can't take away from us is our black joy, and that's what they want. And number three, we have to start working in our own communities now. You know, a lot of people, a lot of black women have lost their jobs. Let's work them. So thank you. This is an honor, and I will continue to be in the neighborhood, but I'm real nervous right now.
Let's get a photo on stage.
Get nervous. You know what I'm saying?
Make sure I'm not.
You good.
Got it. than deserving.
Are we staying up here?
All right, just want to continue to remind everyone, as you have an opportunity and you see the QR code flashed either on the screen or someone shows it to you going around, make sure you do sign up. We don't want to be one and done. This is a continuous work and a continuous effort as we go forward and mobilize. We're now going to have our first of two panels today. And this panel is focused on us hearing about important legislative updates and pending legislation that we need to be informed about so that we can have our respective organizations mobilize around these issues. So it's very, very important. At this time, I'm going to turn this part of the program over to our esteemed finer lady of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Councilwoman Mickey Smith, who is the moderator of our first panel. Brother?
Good morning, my Divine Nine family. I have a couple of announcements real quick. First of all, my hands are cold. My feet are cold. My tears are cold. I am cold. So therefore, I declare and decree by the power of the Holy Ghost that my internal oven and yours turn on high. So we can get through this morning, because I cannot wait a couple of hours to get warm. I need to get warm right now. My name is Mickey Smith, City Council, newly elected City Council, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Home and land of the Marines. I'm a retired Marine, married to a retired Marine, has a son who's a newly appointed second lieutenant in the Marine Corps, and I am the grandmother of two who affectionately call me Go Go. All right, with that being said, I am honored today to be representing Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, especially North Carolina, and here to moderate today. And we have a phenomenal panel that we get to hear responses from. So at this time, am I going to introduce? All right. I will introduce our panel members here. Let me get everybody set up here. We got a lot going on up here. Let me put this down here. First, let's welcome none other than Senator Natalie Murdoch. Senator Gladys Robinson, Representative Amos Quick III, and Representative Rodney Pierce. Come on, let's put our hands together for our representatives. Our panel of representatives are also a part of our Divine Nine family. So I think we can do it one more time while they're getting themselves together. Go ahead and put your hands together for them. I prayed for it. Therefore, we shall receive. Good morning to all of you, and thank you so much for the work that you do on behalf of the state of North Carolina. I do have a series of questions that I'm pretty sure your answers are going to better educate us as a community, but also better educate us as to what we need to be doing right now. The first series of questions will be open to anyone to answer, and then I'll go behind and ask some questions that are indigenous to your current agenda. My first question is, considering the rich legacy of Divine Nine organizations in fighting and advocating for social justice and equality, what specific pieces of legislation should our fraternities and sororities monitor during this legislative season?
Well, good morning, everybody in Divine Nine, and it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. I'm Senator Gladys Robinson. You know, our Divine Nine were each found on social principles. They were found during a time when slavery was upon us, when we were fighting economics and didn't have a quality of life, so they had to come together and find ways that we support each other and to get things done. And this is no different. This time is no different when you're fighting a whatever in the White House, you know. So, is that new? So it's a time when we have to promote not only economic in terms of small businesses and supporting those in who run our businesses, and health care for our people, and education, especially education. When our children continue to fall behind, the Leandro ruling started in 1992 when I was on the commission, and they have thrown it out. So we are the ones who are impacted. So those are the kinds of things that we have to continue to fight and push forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Representative Amos Quick from Guilford County, Greensboro, North Carolina. I serve in the North Carolina House, a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and also serve as a Democratic whip in the North Carolina House. Like Senator Robinson, who is from my same county, I agree with everything she said, and would just like to add that we have to make sure we're protecting our right to vote, because slowly but surely our right to vote is being infringed upon and even taken away. We have to keep our eye on things like the SAVE Act on the federal level, but also here on the state level, we have to make sure that the voter ID and all types of legislation related to that do not continue to encroach upon people's right, and I want to emphasize that word, right to vote. As a former school board member in Guilford County, I also want to stress the importance of keeping our eye and our fight on education. We have spent and allocated about $600 million, almost $1 billion to go toward private schools. And whether or not you have a child in private school, the average student in North Carolina, the majority of students in North Carolina still attend traditional public schools. And taking away funding from traditional public schools is a threat, an absolute threat to our existence in future generations. And finally, I want to also emphasize the need for special education and us to keep our eyes on special education. 1 in 31 children now are being diagnosed with autism on the autism spectrum, and we as a people are being diagnosed at a rate even greater than that. And so we would be derelict if we did not fight for and advocate for the needs of our students who have autism or other intellectual needs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question is going to follow on to that, but how can we as the Divine Nine better leverage our strength and power to effectuate change politically, economically, socially, and how can we leverage our power and strength to assist you as you advocate to enhance the quality of life for our communities?
Well, good morning again. Natalie Murdoch, North Carolina State Senator, representing South Durham and all of Chatham County, proud member of Durham Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Kappa Omicron undergrad is where I crossed. But love this question because I believe ever since I've served in the General Assembly, was elected in 2020, I've always made time to come to Divine Nine Day because, quite frankly, we don't fully utilize and leverage our power. My colleague that you're going to hear from in a little bit represents one of those rural areas, and what we forget about being Divine Nine members, we are everywhere. We are in the smaller counties, the mid-sized, and when you talk about statewide political power, you heard from your state elected officials, you're not going to keep a Justice Anita Earls, you're not going to keep an Attorney General Jeff Jackson if we don't have a statewide coordinated policy. And I'll begin with understanding what you can do and not break the law. When it comes to our pastors, when it comes to Divine Nine, we will continue to overeducate, but you can advocate and educate and get out the vote and talk about issues, and you will not lose your C3 status. You are not breaking any rules. You can support folks like us that are running for office and still not get in trouble. Our mission is social action, so we have to do that. So when we get pushback, sometimes when we want to partner and do things, we have to continue to work through knowing that we can legally advocate and be in these communities. You know, when you see instances such as where my two colleagues to the right serve in Guilford County, we should be there supporting those students. If they are there fighting to keep a polling location on the campus of North Carolina A&T State University, all Divine Nine organizations should not only be there, we had to reach out to organizations to fund, to transport them to the Board of Education meetings. Those are things that Divine Nine can do. How are we going to get the students there? How can we support them? How can we make sure they get safe? So when you work with your undergrad chapters as your grad chapters, you should be supporting them. Not only do they have a voting plan, do they know where and how to vote? We'll be talking about voting a little bit later. Voter registration is a big one. You will no longer be able to get those free forms from the local Board of Education, Board of Elections. As an organization, you can legally print out those forms and have voting drives and not break the law. So we need to really break this down to utilize all of our resources because our ancestors had fewer resources. All of our founders founded these organizations with nothing. So it would behoove us to do everything we can when we have the resources, we have the financing. If you're not that vocal person, you can donate. If you do want to be a little bit more out there, you can drive people out there. Show up to things like this when we call on you and say, help us because we don't have a budget. We need people to physically come here to Raleigh, not just for Divine Nine Day, for those hearings, for the committee meetings that we're having, for session, emails, but back to a statewide strategy. Some of the majority members that you see walking around here are your senators. They're your House members. So we need you all more than ever to reach out to those folks and say, I am your constituent, you represent me, and I don't agree with what you are doing. And you can advocate as a chapter to make real and lasting change because that is what all of our founders and our ancestors would expect from us.
Awesome. Senator Murdoch, you just definitely gave me a great segue into our next section. It's often said a budget is a moral document. In absence of a finalized budget in North Carolina, what values are currently going unfunded or underfunded, and who is bearing that cost? I see a smile at the end of the table.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rodney Pierce. I represent House District 27 in the neglected Northeast, as I like to call it. That's Halifax, Northampton, and Warren counties. I wanted to elaborate on Senator Natalie's answer, but she took everything that I was going to say. But when it comes to the budget, I mean, I think it goes without saying that the things that we have raised today, different speakers who have come to the stage, those things are the things that are missing. We don't have adequate funding for public education. I mean, that's just as simple as that. I'm a Leandro kid, okay? I was a sophomore in high school when Leandro was filed, and Halifax County Schools, where I attended, where I got my first teaching job, where my children currently attend, is an original plaintiff. So when you talk about public education, traditional public schools, I know that from those three lenses. So education, we up here, we talk a lot about health care. Medicaid, that rebase is still not fully funded. It could have been fully funded, but some people chose not to. When you talk about health care, when you talk about education, when you talk about any initiatives that would raise the quality of life for people, we don't see that same priority or that same commitment to it as we do to things that to us generally don't make any sense. Okay? So those are the areas that are lacking. Education, healthcare, public safety. Did you know that our correctional officers, our highway patrolmen, our correctional nurses are among the lowest paid in the entire country? I was talking with the legislative affairs person for the Department of Adult Corrections on yesterday. And he said to me, he said, man, do you realize how much it costs to provide health care for the people that we have housed in our institutions? Now, we ain't talking about us out here who work, okay, who get that deduction taken out every month. I'm talking about people who are incarcerated. So that's something that you have to consider. And when you talk about state employee pay, not just teacher pay, state employee pay, retirees. I know we got some out there, all right? They always tell me, don't forget about us, right? So, but those are the things we're talking about. And you wonder why we have so many vacancies, so many shortages in so many fields, why people are retiring early, why people are literally quitting and going into some type of private company. It's because we, as an institution, or rather the majority as an institution here in Raleigh, have not done our job in investing in the people. And if we're not investing, we're divesting. So I would say state employee pay, public education, public health care, are those areas that we need to put more emphasis on and more of a priority to.
Wonderful. For our other panelists, what specific compromises have you been unwilling to make in budget negotiations?
Well, I chair the HBCU caucus. I co-chaired with Representative Zach Hawkins. And I have for a long time been a supporter of HBCUs since I was on the Board of Governors in 2000 and before then. And I know the value of our HBCUs. You know the value of our HBCUs in terms of what they do for our students to promote them. I am not willing to compromise on repairs for North Carolina Central. They need $100,000 or more in repairs this time. Elizabeth City is standing still because Senator Angela Bryant and I found the legislation that would have closed it. And I'm unwilling to compromise on. Of course, I don't compromise nothing for A&T because I'm right there. And Fayetteville State and Winston-Salem State doing fantastic job. So I'm unwilling to compromise on higher education as well as the feeder to higher education, our public schools. We have to make sure, I'm on that commission that will address education that you've heard of. So even though Leandro is struck down, I'm going to insist that those pieces that were in the Leandro legislation be a part of the commission strategy.
Thank you so much. It's important for us to know that there are some non-negotiables.
Yeah.
I am unwilling to negotiate on diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is absolutely imperative, and it is ridiculous that in a state as diverse as North Carolina is, one of the fastest growing states in the United States, and that population growth is coming from various sources, various populations are moving to North Carolina, and yet we have the majority here who are trying to erase that which cannot be erased. How do you make North Carolina not diverse? It's absolutely asinine for us to have legislation to come through this building that says anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm absolutely unwilling to negotiate on that. Will not take a step back on that. I'm proud African American. I'm proud that we have made contributions to this state and continue to make contributions to this state, and I'm unwilling to allow those contributions to be glassed over or buried as if we have not made contributions and continue to make contributions to this state. I'm also unwilling to negotiate on funding education. Again, most of our kids attend traditional public schools. Teachers have not received adequate raises. Students go to buildings that have not been addressed. Infrastructure needs since the 1980s. We have a technological generation right now where students have more technology at home than they do in their classroom, and I'm unwilling to negotiate on those areas and a few more, but those are the major two.
Thank you so much for that. We're going to transition into something that is very near and dear to the Divine Nine, specifically to our sororities. North Carolina is actively considering legislation like the Omnibus 3.0 Act, House Bill 725, Senate Bill 571, which includes grants, implicit bias training, workforce diversification efforts to reduce disparities in Black maternal outcome. My question is, how do we move beyond pilot programs to sustainable statewide infrastructure for Black maternal health, especially in the rural and underserved communities?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. And first have to lift up another Divine Nine member, Congresswoman Alma Adams and Congresswoman Lauren Underwood, first introduced the Omnibus at the federal level. They're both AKAs, and Congresswoman Adams co-chairs the bipartisan caucus on Black maternal health. So we filed Omnibus at the state level, being inspired by that federal legislation. My colleague in the Senate, Senator Gladys Robertson, myself, and Minority Leader Batch, we filed that bill together every single year, and would be remiss, the work was going on locally before Omnibus. We just kind of packaged it differently for Omnibus. Folks like Senator Robinson have been doing this work long before I came to the Senate, but as the daughter of a pediatric nurse and a public health nurse, and had too many friends. I came into the Senate at 36 years old and was just coming off of a friend that had almost died from giving childbirth, no pre-existing conditions, and Black women are still 3 to 4 times more likely to die from childbirth than white women. Here in North Carolina, if you are a Black woman with a PhD, your health outcomes are worse than a white woman with a high school diploma. So we know that race is playing a factor. We'll continue to file it. We have had some success. We were able to get funding to community-based organizations that do that real work in the community to help moms day in and day out. One of those nonprofits that's based in Durham, Equity Before Birth, she even gets calls from moms that after they give birth and Duke Hospital literally don't even have a ride home. So when we talk about the needs that some of these women have, women that are in homeless shelters that reach out to her for assistance that have never been to the doctor and don't even know how far along they are. But we have made strides here in North Carolina. Would be remiss if I didn't invite folks on the 15th, next week, April 15th. You will have to RSVP, but we will be at the Governor's Mansion to celebrate not only Black Maternal Health Week. This will be the 4th time we've had a North Carolina governor to proclaim next week is Black Maternal Health Week. So that is an honor that here in North Carolina, we consistently had governors in the mansion down the street to say that we know that this is a problem. And yes, we want more than pilots, but do have to mention the Healthy Opportunities pilot needs to be refunded. That pilot did phenomenal work around those social determinants of health, your housing, your transportation, your nutrition. If you don't deal with that, then outcomes will not improve. But more than anything, if we talked about DEI, we have to continue to say the word Black maternal health, because they want to say, oh, everybody, and we're going to care about all people, yes, but we will talk about these Black women that are dying, and we're not going to ignore them. We're going to continue to beat that drum. It will look different because of the politics that we are dealing with, but quietly, I meet with majority members. I also serve on the healthcare committee. We are quietly doing work behind the scenes. When we finally get that budget, there will be more in there to improve our outcomes, but it took years to get us in this mess, and it's going to take years of funding, support, and advocacy to get us out.
Wonderful. I look forward to hearing more from you on that as well. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to comment, as Senator Murdoch said, we co-sponsored that bill, and it's imperative. I've served women, Black women, and poor women with maternal health problems for probably about 40 years. And you know, the thing is, in terms of policy and legislation, if it was a white woman with breast cancer or whatever, then it would be in legislation. So we cannot afford to allow them not to include momnibus in legislation in North Carolina. That needs to be one of your priorities. As we talk about our Divine Nine having consistent priorities across all of them, the health of black women is important. You won't have families. You won't have anything without healthy black women. So that needs to be a priority on the list. I hope you have priorities across the board that all of us are supporting. And that needs to be one of those priorities.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I did want to add something. I introduced a bill this past session, House Bill 128, which would have created a prostate cancer control program in the Department of Health and Human Services. This program would have been identical to the breast and cervical cancer control program that already exists in DHHS. This bill had bipartisan support. Unfortunately, it never moved in committee. Now, you can put that on it not being part of the majority agenda. Me being a freshman, I don't think that has anything to do with it because it had Republican primary sponsors and it had Republican co-sponsors. As a matter of fact, the two of the three Republican primary sponsors are doctors. They're the only two doctors in the entire state legislature, whether you're talking the state Senate or you're talking the state House. So there was bipartisan support for this bill. Prostate cancer is the most common form of cancer among men in the country, period. Okay? I'm the son of a survivor, so unfortunately that puts me more at risk. That's not why I did it. I did it because I wanted to save men's lives. I don't care what color you are. But as you all know, we as black men are inflicted with it and die from it more than anyone. So I was trying to market it as something that was going to save a lot of men's lives, right? Because that's how I had to market it and promote it. But on the flip side, I knew it would do us a great deal of service. And what it would have done is it would have provided free or low-cost screenings, PSA screenings, to men between the ages of 40 and 70 who were at high risk. That's what it would have done. It would have cost about $2 million per fiscal year. So you're talking about $4 million in a biennium. The bill never got out of committee. It got referred to one committee and then it just sat there. So those are some of the challenges that we deal with. And I know Senator Robinson was talking about advocacy from a D9 basis. I talked to Brother Holland. I don't know if he's out here. We had a long conversation about what can we champion in terms of those pieces of legislation. You can do momnibus in the Senate for black maternal health, and you can do prostate cancer control program in the House for black paternal health. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much for adding that. The SAVE Act is part of the national debate around proof of citizenship requirements for voter registration, with potential downstream effects on the states like North Carolina. I'm going to combine these two questions, and please feel free to respond on any portions of the questions. What would implementation of the SAVE Act or similar state-level proposals mean for college students, married women, and voters of color in North Carolina? And should North Carolina adopt additional safeguards to ensure that eligible voters are not inadvertently purged or blocked under stricter ID or citizenship laws?
The SAVE Act, as currently written, and as I understand it, I'm not a lawyer, but the constitutionality of the SAVE Act would first of all be challenged. Because if you are requiring people to go and, for example, get a passport or pay money in order to vote, it's akin to a poll tax, which has already been ruled unconstitutional. But barring that, forgetting about that, which is a big issue, however, but setting that aside, it is an impediment to voting because the intentionality is to make voting look difficult, to make it look like it's a barrier to go and vote. It's the same thing that recently tried to happen with the voter ID bill that we had passed here. But one thing I don't want any of us in the D9 to ever forget was that not too long ago that the Supreme Court ruled that with surgical precision, the North Carolina state legislature tried to disenfranchise black voters with surgical precision. Means it wasn't scattershot, means it wasn't a happenstance. It means that some people sat down and surgically decided that they wanted to diminish the number of black voters in the state of North Carolina. And those people who made that decision, they're not going anywhere. They're either still in this building or they're still behind the scenes. So protecting our right to vote has to be paramount for not only D9 organizations, but for every black citizen of North Carolina.
Yeah, we are at a time where we are literally fighting to preserve every gain our ancestors made. This is the culmination of years of conservatives that are not only trying to make it more difficult for us to vote, but don't want us to vote at all. If we can't connect the dots that the dictator in the White House, this is all a plan. He doesn't want us to vote. That's why he told people, if you go out and vote for me this time, you never have to vote again. Right. For them to bring that SAVE Act back, our elders who may not have the documentation, who have voted for years, may not be able to vote. So if this does not wake up the Divine Nine and all black people, I don't know what will. You literally will not have a right to vote if we don't stop this bill. So for whatever reason, people thought it was a game and didn't vote and stayed home, and they were part of the I call it the couch coalition. And this is serious. This is the most serious threat we have to our voting rights. And so you have the federal SAVE Act. Then at the state level, you have the Board of Elections that are saying you can't even hand out voter registration forms, and we're going to have to work together to get those printed out. You have local boards of elections taking polling locations away from our HBCUs, along with college campuses as a whole. I don't know if we have folks here from Western Carolina area. Western Carolina University had the highest rate of students that registered to vote and voted on the same day. So they're taking polling locations away from App State, Western Carolina, all of these universities, plus the federal SAVE Act. So we've got to pay attention. We've got to see that this is a strategic way to try to silence our voices, and we cannot stand for it. This has to be our rallying cry, Divine. Now we've got to stand up at the state and federal level to stop this, or we will, in fact, lose our right to vote. We will.
And I want to raise something. Let's not even get started talking about the gerrymandering and redistricting. Right? That's a whole nother animal to add to what they're already trying to do. But I want to raise this. Please, and I'm just reiterating what my colleagues have said, please don't think it can't happen here. Please don't think it can't happen here. There are bills that will disenfranchise us or make it more arduous to vote that are introduced every session that you don't see because, you know, they never make it through committee, they never make it to the floor for a vote. But I've seen some of those bills. And you sit there and you look at them on the dashboard and you say to yourself, this will never make it to the floor for a vote. I thought that way about Senate Bill 50. I know you've heard about that one, right? Where they want to let 18-year-olds whose frontal lobes are not even fully developed walk around with concealed handguns without the training. Right? Think about yourself at 18. Were you all there? You know, were you a little more quick-tempered probably? But that's a bill that when I saw it on the dashboard, I said to myself, this will never make it to the floor for a vote. They're just trying to satisfy, you know, a base of voters by introducing it. It made it to the floor for a vote. Got vetoed, and fortunately, some of the majority members were like, we're not going to support this veto. So it didn't get overridden. But again, what I'm saying is don't think these things can't happen in North Carolina. Don't think that there are not legislators in that building who will introduce legislation to disenfranchise you, because they will, and they have. It just hasn't made it to the floor for a vote. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Let me add just one thing before we move on. There is no great number of voter fraud happening in North Carolina or in the country. Do not let anybody sell you on that. There's not great voter fraud. The big issue that we have, bigger than voter fraud, is voter apathy. And that's something that we can do something about.
Thank you all so much. For sake of time, I have one final question. And if you could respond, if each one could respond very briefly, and we'll close this panel after that. North Carolina continues to face ongoing scrutiny and litigation over maps and fairness in representation. How have recent redistricting decisions affect the political power of Black communities and HBCU regions across the state?
I'm sorry, Senator. Well, I think that it's evident in who represents certain communities. I'm actually a plaintiff, the lead plaintiff in a lawsuit called Pierce versus North Carolina State Board of Elections, where I represent Halifax, Northampton, and Warren County in the House. They took Halifax and Warren, which are in the northeast or in the upper eastern part of the state, and they put us in a state Senate district with counties way down there at the coast that we ain't got nothing in common with, okay? Nothing in common with. And they just did that, back in October, where they redistricted CD1, Congressional District 1, which my district falls in, making it harder for the only black man who represents North Carolina in Congress, Congressman Don Davis, to get reelected. They've done this twice, right? So those are the things that happen. You don't get that authentic representation of those communities, that voice they need, that advocacy, that activism. You just have somebody there pressing a button. And I wanted to add this as well, as it relates to those bills I was talking about. You don't think it can happen? Correct me if I'm wrong, Representative Quick. I don't know if it's happening in the Senate, ladies. But there was a bill that was introduced in this past session that would have reduced the early voting period to 6 days. Y'all know about that? Okay, good. So again, don't think it can't happen. But what you're going to see with the redistricting and the gerrymandering and the unfair maps, and we've introduced legislation for an independent redistricting commission, all of that stuff. But what you're going to see is you're not going to get the authentic representation that you want, reflecting your district or your community, and that true advocate or that true voice who can speak to the people in that area and what are their issues. That's what will happen.
Absolutely. And Congressman Don Davis was formerly my seatmate here in the state Senate. And so that brazen gerrymander, to see Congresswoman Eva Clayton at 91, 92 years old, to have to drive to that building right there and fight for the district that she used to represent and was only given a minute to speak for her district. And I'm sad that she is still here to see them gerrymander that map. That is the black belt. We've lost House and Senate state level representation, now potentially congressional representation. They're continuing to silence and dilute black voices. It is intentional, and they're not hiding. They say, hey, we want to provide as many seats as we can, and I'm tired of them acting as if it's something that, quote unquote, both sides have done. You have never had a president that is calling state by state to say, hey, Texas, I need more seats here. Hey, North Carolina, I need more seats here. Hey, Indiana, this is unprecedented. We have never seen such a grotesque attempt to take away our representation in the Senate, where myself and Senator Robinson served. Just in my 6 years of serving, we've lost so many seats, black seats. We have Raymond Smith, who's here, who's running for Congress. He lost his seat in the House, should still be in the House. We've lost Senator Toby Fitch. We've lost Senator Ben Clark. We have lost critical, and not just seats. We've lost the ability for black people to have somebody that cares about them in these two buildings. They now have representation that does not care about our community, that doesn't care about we're dying, that doesn't care about gun violence and all the health issues that we're having. The last piece, you had Justice Anita Earls here earlier. When we talk about the way we've got to focus on this Supreme Court, not only did they overturn Leandro, we lost 3 congressional seats before Texas. They went in, picked up those seats from the Supreme Court, and overnight, we lost those 3 seats. National implications, those are the 3 we needed for the House, U.S. House, to have a majority. So local politics is also national. So when we talk about gerrymandering, it is literally silencing our ability to have the representation we deserve to have as black people.
Historically, Highway 74 from Charlotte going east was known as what Senator Murdoch is talking about as the black belt. You would take 74 going east towards the coast, and you would have black representation in the North Carolina House and the North Carolina Senate. Right now, if memory serves me correctly, and if I'm off, I'm not off by much, only one House representative serves that area, and that's Representative Garland Pierce of Hoke and Scotland County. What is happening with our vote is that we are either diluted by lines that separate us, or we're stacked and packed into districts that have so many of us that, hey, you can elect one black person. You can elect Amos Quick in a district that is 72% black and Democratic, but we're not going to spread out that vote so that other districts could be impacted by that. Ladies and gentlemen, everything that happens in our state begins with a vote. And if we don't understand the importance, I know we get tired of hearing it. Every time an election comes up, somebody says, this is the most important election of our lives, and we get tired of hearing that. We understand that. But hopefully now we can see what votes, how important votes are. The same Raymond Smith, who Senator Murdoch was just talking about, ran for mayor of Goldsboro and lost that mayoral race by less than 10 votes. Less than 10 votes. He should be the mayor of Goldsboro right now, but less than 10 votes. You can go to the family reunion and find 10 people who haven't voted. And I suggest we start doing that, and that we start having a litmus test at our gatherings, at our fraternity meetings, at our family reunions. I'm a pastor, and I say at our church, listen, we have to be a 100% voting church. Press your pastor, press your leadership wherever you are, that whatever organization you're a part of, you want to be a 100% voting organization. And begin with your house. Everybody who lives in your house who's eligible to vote ought to be pressed to vote, because it's just that important. 5 and 6 votes do matter. And it's the most, everything else we want to do, everything else we want to have happen begins at that ballot box. And we're living right now in the results of when we don't take it or take advantage of what voting actually means to us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're going to have our final response, and right after that final, no ma'am, we were going to hear from you.
That's right.
Once we hear our final response, just put your hands together and thank our panel for coming out. So we thank God for our final response from Senator Robinson.
Well, I missed the opportunity of saying that I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority in Greensboro, and I did not. And so I want to say back to voting, and I agree with my colleagues that it starts with the vote. But remember that every decision that has been made straight up and down the ballot, from gerrymandering to Supreme Court, where we only have two. We only have 2 Democrats represented. And remember, courts were not supposed to be partisan. They were never supposed to be partisan. Only this legislature, since 2010, has made it partisan. And all the way up to the president, it's been about the vote. Those people who are making decisions about your board of elections, and it affects every county. It comes from this legislature, where the majority is Republican. So you have to understand the importance of the vote. Vote on every issue, whether it's city council, county commissioners, whatever it is. Somebody is making decisions about your life. And it needs to be you. But somebody else is doing that. So I want to stop here, say that I've been gerrymandered 4 times. I moved every time. But everybody can't do that, and I can't afford it no more. But it's important that we organize. You have the opportunity today to sit down, develop that platform on what everybody, every organization of Divine Nine is going to support. Voter rights, health, education, whatever it is, you have the right. And if people hear that constantly from millions of people across the state, they are going to respond because you vote for them. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for coming.
Thank you all of you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent job.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Your attention, please. Your attention, please. For the introduction of our keynote speaker, we'll have
Mr. Omega himself, Patrick Curry. Let us receive him.
Good morning, good morning. Hey, before we get started, you don't know what I went through to get this man to come. So I don't care if you registered or not. Y'all need to come back under this tent right now. So everybody act like you registered. Some said they registered last night. Yeah, we know you lying. You say you registered last night. Registration been closed for a week. I registered last night. How I get a badge? Register on time. Y'all come on in here. Come on in here. I'm not like my DR. I'm cold. I'm cold. You cold. We gonna be cold. Y'all need to come in. Y'all hear me? Judge Morgan back there, come on in here. Judge Morgan, don't act like you don't hear me. Come on in here. Judge Morgan, he ain't on the court no more. Can't get me. All right, y'all all right, Zetas. If y'all don't call them Sigmas behind me to come up under this tent, I'ma call them. Y'all come on under this tent. Y'all talking about we taking a picture. Get under this tent. We ain't come here to take no picture. Well, we did. We'll take a couple pictures. But y'all need to get up under this tent. So, no, he talking back. Y'all need to get up under this tent before he speak. Y'all come up under this tent. I didn't say that. That's what the script said. I would never. Jesse know that. We've been knowing each other 40 years. I know I don't look like it. That's what, I didn't write my script. All right. Y'all, what are they doing over there? You ready? You good? You good? All right. I'm going to write the script next time. All right. Good morning. Good morning, brothers and sisters. And I didn't write this either, but they put it in my script. Can I get an Aggie Pride? Yeah, y'all like that. I saw some Eagles say Aggie Pride. I saw y'all. Yeah. Hey, don't worry about it. Don't nobody know about that GPA right now. It's okay. All right, calm down. I don't know why y'all doing all that laughing and acting up. As we gather under the theme, Forging Our Future Together, mobilizing for maximum impact, it is my honor to introduce a leader whose life and legacy embodies service, advocacy, and impactful change. Today, we welcome my brother, my classmate, and my friend, Jesse Jackson Jr., a man with deep roots in public service and a strong connection to the state of North Carolina. His academic journey includes studies at North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State University, an institution known for producing leaders committed to advocacy, civil rights and justice, and progress of our race and the human race. In addition to his undergraduate degree, he also has a master's in divinity from Chicago Theological Seminary and a JD from the University of Illinois College of Law. He went on to serve with distinction as a member of the United States House of Representatives representing Illinois' 2nd Congressional District for over a decade. During his tenure, he was a consistent voice for economic empowerment, voting rights, and equity, championing policies that lifted underserved communities and strengthened our collective future. Beyond his public service, he is also a proud member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, an organization grounded. And they barking now. I did. Some of y'all didn't even come in when I told you. Anyway, an organization grounded in the very principles we honor today: manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. Brothers and sisters, his life's work reflects the very essence of our theme: mobilizing people, purpose, and policy to create lasting impact. Please join me. If you're under the tent, please join me in welcoming our distinguished speaker, my brother, Jesse Jackson, Jr.
Let me first begin by giving honor and praise to God for the privilege of returning safely home to North Carolina, to be in the presence of classmates and friends, some of whom I see regularly at the greatest homecoming on earth. And some of whom I have not seen in more than 40 years. But I'm privileged and grateful that God has given us this unique opportunity to gather. I want to express my sincere appreciation to Brother Pat Curry for the very generous and very thoughtful and very kind introduction. I can't thank members of the Divine Nine enough for the prayers that they've offered on behalf of my mother, Mrs. Jessie Jackson, my brothers and sisters for the loss of the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stands not only as a pillar of strength and an icon for this nation and our world in a time of craziness and mess. The courage that the Divine Nine gave him across the course of more than 6.5 decades of public ministry are greatly appreciated and understood. My dad told me when I was feeling some kind of way about the 30 months that I served in a federal prison that I should go to the Clave in New Orleans, Louisiana, a number of years ago. And he said, what you need to do is get out of the house, go to New Orleans and spend some time with your brothers. He said, first of all, half of them been to the joint too. Bros, he was joking. But the sense that we as African Americans and those of us who are products of the experience of what it means to be black in America have long welcomed wayward sons and people who've had difficult journeys back home. In the black community, we are not in a position where we can discard a single person because our destiny is inextricably bound by the reality, first and foremost, that we are not purple and gold, that we are not red and white, that we are not blue and white, that we are not brown and white, that we are not pink and green, but that we are black. And the closest we've come since first Reconstruction in uniting around the reality of what it means to be black isn't indeed the colors at the founding of our organizations. It is in recognizing that the men and women who founded our fraternities and sororities found themselves in the middle of Jim Crow. So this is something that we are used to, something that we understand. And I'm particularly grateful that I've been given the opportunity and the privilege from my perspective, and I speak and have spoken at hundreds of events across this country and maybe thousands across this country over the course of my public career. But I can say this without any equivocation: for Divine Nine organizations, I have never seen a more thoughtful legislative conference than the one offered right here in North Carolina. The issues are clear. Our intent is clear. Our determination is clear. The Attorney General stood here and said he was here, and Divine Nine is here to bring some fire. I guess my concluding remarks are to bring just a little bit of smoke. Pat Curry said to me yesterday when I got in town, along with some of my brothers from the fraternity, that they wanted to vet my remarks. And I assured them that I wasn't going to say anything that was inappropriate. Pat said, I want you to be brief, I want you to be adequate, and I want you to be appropriate. And I told Pat that in keeping with the Jesse Jackson Sr. tradition, I'd be adequate and appropriate. 2 out of 3 won't be that bad. But I am reminded of this fact. Abraham Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address in 3.5 minutes, and Martin Luther King Jr. delivered the I Have a Dream speech in 13.5 minutes. And if you can't say it comfortably between Gettysburg and I Have a Dream, you probably ought not say it at all. And so, Divine Nine, I want you to receive this message. We are born in time. We are the byproduct over time. And the contribution that we make in time is for all time. Let me say that again. We are born in time. We are the byproduct of a history over time. And the contribution that we make in the present is for all time. In the earliest parts of Matthew in the New Testament, there is a reflection upon the alignment of stars that laid the foundation for the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. The stars that came together in Bethlehem on that occasion will never repeat themselves because the universe is constantly expanding. And therefore, the alignment of stars in the life of the Master are unique to the stars upon which he was born. The alignment of the stars of each individual in this room is unique to the millisecond that you are born on planet Earth. No one, no place, no time will ever be born in the same space, from the same mama, from the byproduct of a relationship with your daddy, in the same time and the same place as you are and you were at the moment of your birth. Which means in the eyes of God, you are unique. Which means you were born in time for this moment. But like the sister said, you didn't just fall out of no coconut tree. Say, I was born in time. The sister said that you were born and you didn't just drop out of a tree like a coconut, which means you were born over time. We may not agree on blue and white. We may not agree on purple and gold. We may not agree on gold and black. We may not agree on pink and green, brown and white, red and white, blue and gold. We may not agree on no colors, but we have to agree that 1619 was a turning point in the history of the Negro in the world. Martin Luther King said, and Malcolm X said, that we were not born on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock was born upside our head. Martin Luther King Jr. said at the 250th anniversary, as we prepare to commemorate the Declaration of Independence, that we were here before Jefferson etched the magnificent words of the Constitution. We were here before the nation celebrates on July 4th its 250th anniversary. The Negro was here. We were here during the pre-construction phase of America. We were here during its construction phase, including the writing of the Constitution in 1787 and the addition of the Bill of Rights in 1791, none of which applied to us until we made America democratic. It was an undemocratic proposition until we showed up. Immigrants and Hispanics are not responsible for certain states being added to the Union, one free and one slave, where they end up with 2 senators in Washington, D.C. as part of a compromise, both from free states and slave states. We still live in South Carolina with Lindsey Graham. We live with the consequences and the ramifications of Strom Thurmond. And North Carolina, I've been gone for a minute, but we never seem to get over Jesse Helms. "11 states did not leave the Union because of women's issues. South Carolina did not fire the first shot at Fort Sumter because of gay issues. The California Act adding the state of California to the Union didn't occur over Native American issues. The Negro is responsible for America. And because of our struggle and the addition of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, ain't nobody else got to be in slavery. The 13th Amendment didn't just free us from slavery, it freed America's future from slavery. However you feel about immigrants coming to the United States, legal or illegal, there were no citizenship rights until the Negro added the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Divine Night, I'm going somewhere. But for the 15th Amendment to the Constitution allowing African American men to vote, there would be no case for the 19th Amendment, allowing women, regardless of their color, to vote. The threat to democracy is a threat to who we are existentially. Because Langston Hughes is right. America never was America to me. But this I swear, America will be. My life ain't been no crystal stair. When I told my daddy that I just wanted to be in retirement just a little bit longer and maybe never leave retirement after my own offense, one day I woke up and this nation elected and sent somebody to Washington, D.C. with 34 felonies. I said, if he can go to Washington with 34, I can try to go with just 2. And we ran AKA's a good campaign. I lost to one of your sisters. And I'm okay with it. Because we made each other better in the process. Nothing negative to say about my political opponents. But this panel, and I shared it with each panelist who left this stage, was one of the most important panels I've heard in a decade. And it happened right here. Keep that video. It is the quality of our voices that is being affected by the drawing of these lines. When we do lose 73% black districts, we lose the voice of John Conyers. We lose the voice of Maxine Waters. We lose the voice of Jasmine Crockett. We lose the voice of a Jesse Jackson Jr. When these lines change and we have to campaign on all sides of town other than just our own, the history is lost and the quality of our voices are affected by that process. I don't have a speech. I don't have a speech in front of me because I know what the hell I'm talking about. I know North Carolina. I remember when A&T only had 4,000 students, not 15,000. I remember registering every single voter in Cooper Hall and Scott Hall and Barbie Hall and Alex Haley. And I remember on election day, our struggle to have a polling place moved to A&T's student union. And I respect the students of A&T who went and came to Raleigh demanding that polling places be allowed where 15,000 students now attend school. 15,000 students is more than enough students to elect the mayor of Greensboro, North Carolina. NC Central, Winston-Salem State, 850,000 Negroes in the state of North Carolina who did not vote for anybody. And you heard the justice stand here and say that a justice lost an election, I think, by 400 votes. When I was in Congress, I offered an amendment. I offered 9 amendments to the United States Constitution because the Southerners argued during Reconstruction and before Reconstruction and during the Civil War that slavery was a state right. And since slavery is a state right, states' rights can never be human rights. That's my position. If slavery is a state's right, under no condition can states' rights be human rights. So adding the 13th Amendment to the Constitution shifted the paradigm. Now, human rights are what determines the standard of the Constitution of the United States. One such amendment that I offered was this: all citizens shall enjoy the right to a public education of equal high quality. If such an amendment in 2001 had been fought for by the Democratic Party, had been fought for by people who want to improve the quality of education for their children in 2001, we would not be discussing Leandro in North Carolina in 2026. A federal floor by which, if you find yourself in the ghetto of North Carolina, or on some side of Greensboro, or some side of Winston-Salem, or some side of Fayetteville, where our community was limited due to housing and racial segregation, We deserve in America the constitutional right to demand if that high school on that side of town has an Olympic-sized swimming pool, tennis courts, class sizes less than 15 students, every child with a laptop and an iPad and studying AI and learning more about the world economy and traveling to Washington and spending time in Paris. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. And we need a constitutional right to make that argument. Y'all ain't saying nothing, but I know I'm preaching. I've already gone past my 10 minutes, haven't I? So the best and brightest have gathered in Raleigh, North Carolina. 99.9% of us then graduated from college. The 0.9 or the 0.1 that didn't came to college just to pledge and left as soon as they crossed over. But the best and brightest per capita is right here. My challenge for the Divine Nine of North Carolina is this. You are setting the standard for the entire nation in your advocacy. I need you to see more than just North Carolina. Because District 10 isn't this organized. I'm in Illinois. Divine Nine's impact is not what your impact is. Go back to our meetings. Go back to our claves. Go back to our districts and make the case for political advocacy. Not just for the college educated and elite amongst us, but for the 800,000 North Carolinians and the million in Illinois who've opted out of the process. And you're going to find them in the barber shops, in the beauty shops. You're going to find them in the streets. You're going to find them on the corners. You're going to find them graduating from high school, not attending college, having never heard of a fraternity or a sorority. And we can't hold our heads up higher than the least of these in our community. We can't do that now. I think I want to try and say it this way. I had to ask myself the question because I think about my dad every single day. What made Jesse Jackson so special? What made him tick? It wasn't that he attended the University of Illinois, pledged, and joined our illustrious fraternity, and then came to A&T, graduated from college as the first Jackson in the history of the name Jackson to graduate from college. And I'm willing to go so far as to say that some of the brothers and sisters in this room are the first of whatever your name is to graduate from college. When you trace your lineage back, somewhere in your lineage is a grandmama who couldn't go to A&T or Winston-Salem State or NC State or the PWIs or wherever they go. Somewhere in your lineage is some history of denial. Now, what made Jesse Jackson, from my perspective, tick was not that he was born to a father who did not want him. He was adopted. His third name was Jesse Jackson. He was given his first name by his grandmama, Jesse Burns. He was born, if he were wanted, Jesse Robinson. He was adopted by Charles Jackson. Hence, Jesse Jackson. It isn't that he was a rejected stone, it was how he processed rejection. He couldn't find a pastor in Greenville, South Carolina to baptize him. Because he was born at that time in segregation outside of the grace of God. His mother was run as a teenage mother out of the choir because she had relations with a married man. And in the social mores of that era, that was unacceptable. And so by the time he experienced rejection growing up, kicked out the church and kicked out the community and made fun of, by the time he went to University of Illinois and they denied him the opportunity to play the position that he wanted to play, quarterback, and he came to A&T and identified with his brothers in the fraternity. Somewhere on that journey, my father said to himself, after having heard a poem, I am somebody. And Jesse Jackson along that road decided that he was going to be hope for somebody else. Jesse Jackson's contribution is not political. My father's contribution is psychological. He took a people who did not believe in themselves and told them they were somebody. And somewhere between somebodyness and hope, Jesse Jackson moved the people. That's what I tried to say at my father's funeral. As all the presidents were doing all the talking, discussing the politician they think they saw. But you see, Dad kept a little book in his pocket, and I'm going to close on this, written by the late Howard Thurman, called With Head and Heart. And at the beginning of the book, Dr. Howard Thurman dedicates the book to the stranger who restored his broken dream and sent him to college. Howard Thurman's family in Daytona Beach, Florida had determined that one of them was going to go to college. Some such story that belongs to every single person in this room. And the community came together and they gathered their quarters and their coins and their nickels and the little savings that they had saved and bought him a ticket to catch the train to college. Dr. Thurman packed all of his belongings and put them in a trunk. And by the time he got to the train station, he went and presented his ticket to get on the train, and the conductor said, well, I can let you on the train, but I can't let your trunk on the train because your trunk requires an additional ticket. Howard Thurman then, feeling that sense of rejection, went over in the corner of the train station, according to his autobiography, and he began crying profusely, both out of his eyes and mucus coming out of his nose and saliva coming out of his mouth. And he looked down in a puddle of mess and said, he opened his eyes and saw a pair of old brown rustic boots. He continued to look up and he saw a man in overalls with a straw hat. And the old man said, boy, why are you crying? And Thurman said, I got a ticket to go to college, But the conductor told me that I couldn't take my bag with me, with my pictures of my family and my clothes and things with me, because I couldn't afford a ticket for my bag. And so the old man reached in his pocket and pulled out a little leather sack and went and bought Howard Thurman a ticket for his luggage. Howard Thurman says that all he remembers when he boarded the train was the train was going that way. And he saw the man walking down the tracks in the distance until his figure disappeared. And he never knew the man's name. So he dedicates his book to the stranger who restored his broken dream and sent him to college. Who was Jesse Jackson? I asked Walter Fluker for Dr. Thurman who the stranger was. And Dr. Fluker said, to Thurman, the stranger was God. Watch this, church, because I realize that down here in the Bible Belt and evangelical land, they done told y'all that a chariot ablaze is coming one day, and Donald Trump is in Washington now trying to create the biblical prophecies in the Middle East and got Paula White running around here sounding crazy. Franklin Graham sounding crazy. Calling a man who want to wipe out a civilization by 8 o'clock yesterday night crazy. Howard Thurman believed the stranger was God. And I challenge every preacher and every Bible-toting reader and everybody who think they can preach. You name for me one instance in the Bible, particularly in the New Testament, where Jesus of Nazareth did not present himself as the stranger. Every single person he came into contact with, he was the stranger. God is going to present himself to you not as a chariot ablaze, but as a stranger who will restore your broken dream and change the trajectory of your life. Who is Jesse Jackson? Everybody in this room has their own Jesse Jackson story. I can't get in the hotel I'm staying at here in North Carolina without somebody walking up to me, showing me a picture of them and Reverend Jesse Jackson in their phone. Everybody got a Jesse Jackson story because Reverend Jackson presented himself as the stranger who restored people's broken dreams and changed the trajectory of their lives. That's his contribution. That's why all of the state legislators and the presidents and the business people wanted to hang around the Reverend, because everybody has a broken dream that needs someone to restore their hope, to keep their hope alive, to give them some sense of somebodyness. And that in and of itself changes the trajectory of our lives. And so today, as we begin Divine Nine, our legislative activity here in North Carolina, we are not thinking about ourselves. We are thinking about the strangers that we've not met, about the least of these who are counting on us to hold our head high in front of these state senators and state representatives, in front of the governors, Democrat and Republican, to honor the promise that is America, to honor the promise that we made America to be. You hold your head high. You don't change your voice just because you think you're around somebody more powerful than you. They're not more powerful than you. They got 2 arms and 2 legs and a head just like you. When you leave this conference and you walk in that building, you represent the best that black people have brought forward, because you are in time, over time, and what you project is for all time, and therefore we make our contribution and we make our stand today. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.
They might let me stand on the committee. Let's give another round of applause for Jesse Jackson Jr.
It warmed up in here too, didn't it?
Yeah. All right, Dr. Cedric Lucky.
Thank you once again. On behalf of the Mighty 6th District, we want to take this time to offer you this pin of our appreciation, you coming back home and giving us this great honor to present us today. So thank you, sir. I'm going to put this on you. All right. And this is representing the Mighty 6th District. Oh, yeah, try to.
You didn't put on no coat?
No.
Lucky, real lucky, because I'd have left his sneezing.
All right. We have one more presentation. Go ahead.
Let's give Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr. one more round of applause. Added Reverend intentionally. Now, I've asked Representative Hawkins to make this presentation. The state has designations for individuals, and it is very rare that these things happen this quickly. But whenever we let Governor Stein know who would be in our midst, they worked around the clock. Tracy Lovett spoke at the reception yesterday. She is over all of the external offices of engagement for the governor's office, and she made this recognition happen. And I look forward to Representative Hawkins presenting this to Jesse Jackson Jr. At this time, Representative Hawkins.
I am somebody. I am somebody. He sounded just like his dad when he said it, didn't he? Didn't he? My name is Zach Hawkins, State Representative, House District 31 in Durham County, proud member of Omega Psi Phi, and it is my profound honor to posthumously present the Order of the Longleaf Pine, the highest civilian honor in the state of North Carolina, to the late Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. He was a proud graduate of North Carolina A&T State University and a global leader in the movement for justice and equality. As a member of Omega Psi Phi, Reverend Jackson carried a legacy of service, scholarship, and uplift. Through his powerful message to keep hope alive and his affirmation that I am somebody, he inspired generations to believe that they were worth and their power. He challenged us to dream big, especially in the electoral arena. And he helped to build the very systems of opportunity, access, and representation that we continue to benefit from today. His legacy lives in every word, in every voice that is empowered, every barrier that has been broken, and every step forward toward a more just and equitable world. And as we honor him with North Carolina's highest distinction, we offer the traditional toast of the Order of the Longleaf Pine. Where the weak grow strong and the strong grow great, here's down home to the Old North State. Congratulations on behalf of your father. I just want to comment. About 63 years ago, maybe 64, my mother was a student at North Carolina A&T, Jacqueline Lavinia Brown, and she was staying at a dorm that escapes me right next to the cafeteria. What dorm would that be? Holland? Holland, yeah. And Holland Hall. And my dad caught her eye. She said recently in an interview that there was a series of catcalls that the young fresh women had to go through in a series of catcalls that they had to go through to get in the cafeteria at A&T. And we never did that, but apparently my dad did. And he turned to my mother and he said to her, "Girl, I'm going to marry you." And my mama said, "Come show me what you got." She then insisted that he understand her paper and her work on Gandhian nonviolence in India and the role in which the civil rights movement was playing in changing the course of American history. And so I can't wait to present this honor to my mother on this occasion because at 82 years old, she is extremely grateful for every act of kindness that has been bestowed and recognition that the sacrifice that they made together for more than 65 years mattered. And I want her to know that it mattered, and I'm honored to receive this award on her behalf. Thank you.
All right, we're resuming our program. Hopefully everyone had a wonderful lunch. We're going to do a much needed special presentation for one of our founding members of the working group and a beloved sister of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Yvonne Pettis. She departed from us this year, and we are going to present this award to commemorate her service and legacy to her grandson, Carl Dean II, who just crossed as an Omega in Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. You can come on up.
So as anyone that has been here for the past 11 years, you will know that we would not have been here today if it wasn't for Sister Von Pettis urging us all to action. The reason why we are convened here, the reason why we even have a governor's reception, the reason why we think the Divine Nine as a whole are together for this action is because of Von Pettis. And even though she is not with us in this earthly plane, we recognize her legacy through her grandson. And so the award reads Divine Nine Legislative Day Leadership Recognition presented to Mrs. Yvonne Simmons Pettis for your commitment and service to the state of North Carolina, presented April 2026.
Hello, everybody. I am Carl Dean. I'm a newly Spring 26 initiative of the Mighty Tall Side chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and Ego Pride. And I just want to say, on behalf of the Dean and the Pettis family, I appreciate what all you guys do, not only for North Carolina, but for the Divine Nine as a whole. And thank you.
We certainly hope that everyone is not only enjoying fellowshipping with your sisters and brothers gathered here today, but that you have learned about pressing issues and critical pieces of proposed legislation that need your organization's advocacy and attention. Now, when we talk about civic engagement, we're always talking about how to involve our college sisters and brothers in the fight for equality and social justice as we all forge ahead to mobilize ourselves for maximum impact. At this time, we will hear from our dynamic students who will talk about the issues of voter suppression on their campuses. And at this time, I will turn this session of our program over to the devastating diva of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Ms. Amaya Williams.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Amaya Williams. I'm from Wake Forest University, and I'm the North Carolina Social Action Co-Coordinator of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Today, I'm joined by 4 wonderful panelists, starting with Miss Chantel Chestnut, my soror from North Carolina Central University, and a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And today, actually, is also her birthday, so yes, big happy birthday, joining us today here on her special day. Next we have Ahmad Blair from North Carolina A&T State University and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, as well as Miss Mackenzie Davis Cohort from North Carolina Central University and a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And Jordan Armstead from Elon University and a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. So could you all join me in welcoming our 4 wonderful panelists? So I'll go ahead and get started with our first question. How did you all learn about the removal of voting sites on college campuses, and what was your initial reaction?
So for me, I think the first place that I heard it was at A&T, right? So really since my freshman year, we've had a polling place on campus in the Dudley building. It not only serves the students there, but it also serves the community. As with many HBCUs, we're in the middle of predominantly black communities that, usually have marginalized, factors, right? So lack of transportation. And so the polling place on our campus was positioned to serve the Cumberland Courts community, which is right across the street, to serve our student body, and is close to the freshman dorms. So, to have been fighting this fight now for 4 years, and every year they're trying to remove our polling place, I think it's hard to not know what's happening on your own campus. So for me, that was the first place that I heard it.
Yes, Elon University, although it is a PWI, the neighborhood is predominantly black and brown communities, and they use our campus site for their voting, right? And when I found out that there might be difficulties with them voting on our campus, I was very disheartened because some of these community members, they may not be able to get to Greensboro, or they may not be able to get to Charlotte or the bigger cities, right? Sometimes they have to vote in Alamance County at Elon University. And it's just really hard to tell people that voting is important, but some places you won't be able to vote.
I would say the first time I heard about it is at a social action meeting. There's been a lot of talk around, especially North Carolina Central. We currently have a polling place on our campus, but over the current years, because of lack of participation and people voting at that polling site, it has been under threat of being taken away. So when I heard that A&T's got taken away, Western Carolina universities got taken away, it's really disheartening because, as some of us know, the younger population, that demographic, is unfortunately some of the lowest percentages in voting. So it's unfortunate to whereas now we're trying to take those polling places away, and people who sometimes weren't already inclined to vote now don't really even get the chance to. So it's really unfortunate to hear.
I would say for me, my first time hearing about them wanting to close different polling locations was actually at an event that our school hosts called Soar to the Polls, where students come out and use their right to vote. And I know for me, coming to Central, that was my first time ever getting involved with voting. So knowing that they're trying to take away these different polling sites, which was a monumental place for me, being able to use my voice to vote, definitely made me understand the importance of us using our voice within our communities to advocate for our wants and our needs in the community. Especially being Black and brown students, our voices usually go under the rug or not always like vocalized or put out there. So I think it's important for us to continue to work to have these sites still open for many students.
Thank you all. Those are really very insightful answers. The next question kind of ties directly to that, and some of you started to touch on this, but in what ways has removal of your voting sites directly impacted you or students you know when it comes to accessing the ballot?
I think we already have a difficult time expressing to the youth that voting is important and their vote matters. When we make voting sites less convenient, I feel like it hurts us even more, right? At least if voting sites are on college campuses, we can just educate and teach people that they should vote to make a change, right? And they can go into their local student center and vote there. When you take that away, right, not only do you have to convince them that they should be voting, but now you have to find out how they're going to get to the voting site and how they're going to get transportation, right? And that affects a lot of students from not wanting to vote and continually believing that their vote is not going to change what's happening in their reality.
Yeah, I currently think a big problem for a lot of students is access. Sometimes if there's not a polling site on campus, a lot of students have to go off campus, whether it be 10, 20 miles to do that. And now that you're taking this convenience away, people may not even feel like their vote matters enough, because if we're supposed to have a polling site on our campus or near us and you take that away, it makes people feel as though, well, if they don't want me to vote, what's the need to vote? And that's unfortunate, because the young people that are going to colleges, we are the future. We are the next generation that's going to be coming up, making policies, voting, and any policy that happens now is going to be affecting us in the future. So it's really important, I think, to make sure we're educating people, because a lot of times people may think they understand what voting and politics is like and understand how government really affects us on a day-to-day basis. But I think it's really important we need to start making sure that we're educating people on what they're taking away. Because if your vote wasn't so important, they wouldn't be trying to take it away in the first place. So it's really important that we're educating our youth, educating our college students to understand that the current administration, things that are happening, this is how it's going to negatively affect you in the future. And I think once they understand that, there may be a bit less apathy when it comes to voting.
I think you touched on a really good point there, is the apathy, right? So, in Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, he says that the Negro in New York can't believe he has nothing for which to vote, while the Negro in Mississippi doesn't have the right to vote, right? And I think that is a big part, especially at A&T. Not only do we not have access to the poll on campus, but you've also split the campus into 4 different districts, right? So if you move from your freshman year from Barbie on the south side of campus, which is beside the polling place, now, you've moved up a little bit, you're a sophomore, you've got a little stain on campus, you've got the better housing, you're on the north side. Well, now you can't vote in the polling place in Dudley because you've moved across Lindsay Street, right? So we split the campus, then you've got student apartments that are across Market Street, they're in a whole nother voting precinct, right? So not only do we dilute the vote of the people who actually care about voting and are tied into the issues and want to make the change, but you've also hindered the people who, maybe just are trying to start voting or don't come from an area where their education tells them to vote, right? So I think that when you not only split them in half, but also when you remove access, it makes nobody want to vote, to be honest.
Thank you. You guys have all kind of touched on this as well, but I'll go ahead with our next question. What barriers do students now face in voting without on-campus polling locations? And do you think that the removal of these sites disproportionately affects certain groups of students? So, i.e. like first generation, low-income students, students of color. especially with the diverse backgrounds you guys have from HBCUs and PWI.
I can speak on that first. I definitely think the closing of polling locations definitely target our community first and foremost. I think one of the biggest issues, how we discussed before, is transportation issues. A lot of students, when they come on campus, they might not have a car to get around. Ubers are expensive. They might not know how to use a public transportation system. So that already kind of discourages them from wanting to get out there and vote. And then another issue that can prevent students from wanting to get out there and vote is they might not have the time to, with the class schedules, prior commitments, other things going on. So now when you have them having to travel 10, 20 miles outside of where they could usually just go right there on their school location and vote, that causes another issue which prevents students from wanting to get out there and vote.
I don't know if Mr. Quick is still under the tent, but he said it best. They want us to think that voting is hard, that it's difficult, when it's not. It's just not accessible for some people. And Elon University is a PWI, right? We have first generation students. We have a small population of Black students, Hispanic students. And I can say, at least from my experience, that these communities are already under the belief that their vote will not change their circumstances. They're already being taught that even if they do vote for maybe once, right, their mayor, their governor, their senator may not win. And if they do win, maybe they will not end up with the promises that they give them, right? And these communities, these students need to realize and believe that their voting can make a change. And one of the best ways we can help them with that is getting to the voting polls, is allowing them access to at least try and hope that there will be a change. Thank you.
I think you said something too that really stood out. We do not have a polling place on campus for this past election, and so we came to Raleigh to advocate for the polling place to be upheld. The State Board of Elections and the Guilford County Board of Elections both tried to move the polling place to the Greensboro Coliseum, right? It serves University of North Carolina at Greensboro. It's a PWI. So while they're typically more left-leaning, and in politics it aligns with A&T, I think that they've tried to disenfranchise Black and brown voters who are centralized at the largest HBCU in the country, right? But they tell you that they're just moving it across town and you can still drive there, but it's easier for these students at UNCG who may not face those same background hindrances that the students at A&T face. So I think that they're moving the needle, but not really making it harder or easier per se. It's a perception thing, right? Because yes, it is still right downtown, and yes, it does still require you to travel, but they're not actually limiting your right to vote. You just have to be, I think, steadfast enough to go and do it. And that is one of the biggest things, is that you have students who will bust down your door for an SGA election, but they'll spend $20 for the Uber to go to Winston for a party, but you won't pay the $5 to go downtown for the Board of Elections.
Thank you. How do you think this decision surrounding moving voting polls farther from campus, moving them off campus, is going to affect longer term civic engagement among young voters and especially collegiates?
One thing I will say is, I think that again, if you're making voting harder, students, again, they have a lot to deal with: classes, internships, everything else under the sun. And unfortunately for them, voting may not be in the top 5 or even top 10 of their priorities. And if you're making it harder, then they're not going to vote and they're not going to be civically engaged. So when they grow up and they have kids, they're not going to teach them how to be civically engaged. And then this continues down the pipeline of more people, more minorities not being engaged in politics, not being engaged in voting. And one thing is that, again, on North Carolina Central's campus, our polling site is still active. However, there have been talks of lack of participation. We're going to be moving it. So it's really important for students to be able to vote at that polling site. It took a lot for us to get that privilege. Like he said, A&T doesn't have it. Some campuses don't have it, and it's really a privilege that as an HBCU, North Carolina Central still has their polling site on campus. So for me, what I do is I'm registered to vote. I'm from Goldsboro, North Carolina, but I'm still registered to vote here in Durham on campus because I want to make sure that we continue getting active participation at that polling site so that when the numbers come up, you're able to see, oh, there's a reason why we have this polling site on Central's campus. People actually vote at it. So it's really important just for students to really understand that that polling place that we have is a privilege and we need to take advantage of it.
Do you think that like students are being intentionally discouraged from voting, or do you think it's like more unintentional, just like a byproduct that isn't like the main function of moving the voting polls from campus?
I think both. I think they understand the power of the youth voting. We are the generation to make a change, and I think they realize that we know what's happening, right? And especially in this day and age of social media and just a vast type of media, people are realizing what's really happening in the government, and they don't like it. They want to make a change. And I think they understand that this generation, no disrespect to y'all's, but this generation is really, we're empowered to make a change. And I think that's why they're pushing so hard for college campuses not to have voting polls. I think they are afraid of what we can do. I also think that some students, their parents may not have been politically active. Their grandparents may not have been able to be politically active. I think they don't know how to do that. And I think it's up to all our leadership roles and all our organizations to teach them how to do so. Elon University still has a polling site. Elon Votes is an organization on my campus that educates students on how to register to vote, how to vote, you know, how to do your research. It's very unfortunate that A&T does not have a site, but Elon University is open to all of Alamance County, all of Greensboro, whoever wants to come. I think that's what we have to do. We have to take a stand. We have to make sure our college campuses are helping others.
I just want to add, touching on what she said as well. I think whether it is unintentional or intentional, it's our job to continue to advocate for ourselves. It's our job to continue to educate ourselves. And it's our job to get out there and pour into those outside communities who may not know about the power of voting or who may not have the tools or resources to be able to vote. I know as being a student at North Carolina Central University, it's a privilege to still have our campus voting site. So I think if it's unintentional or intentional, we still need to use our voice and use our power to make the change, because we are the change makers for the next generation, for those next group of students who come to these different campuses and want to use their voice to be able to vote and make changes in the government.
And what reasons have been given for removing these voting sites? And do you find them like valid, or do you think there might be alternative reasons?
I'll say for A&T, we sat just in this building on the corner, and the Guilford County, I guess, executive director for the Board of Elections said that they had planned for 13 polling sites. They had the money for 13. I think the proposal was 15 or 17. In the end, I think it was either down to 10 or 11. So we ended up with less than what was proposed, but the argument was that they didn't have the funding or the people, the manpower to man the polls at A&T and at the Agriculture Center right down the street and at the Board of Elections downtown. But it doesn't make sense when you've already budgeted for it, right? So the money's already there, it's already earmarked. It's not like we're asking you to increase to 20 polling sites. And so I think that is their main argument, at least in our case, and it just doesn't make sense. Like the logic is not there.
And who do you think that should be held accountable for ensuring equitable access to voting for students?
I think you gotta want it yourself. Like, we can't expect someone else to come and save us. Yeah. You know, even when you wait for people who are in this fight together, right, no one's going to have that same passion for whatever they're doing the way that you do. And so when you can put the passion behind your story and put a personal connection to it, not only does it make it personal for you, but it helps somebody else feel what you feel and get out there and make the change, right? So if I feel the way that we do about A&T and I tell the story to you about Central, and now you're like, man, like we could be next, so now let's make sure not only are we protecting Central, but also let's send students over to A&T and we all are in this fight together, so that way we don't have to wait for the Board of Elections to, fingers crossed and drive down to Raleigh and hope somebody takes our students with a bus. Like we are here for ourselves.
I think while it is our responsibility to make sure that participate and keep these polling sites open, it's also our legislators' responsibility to represent us and what we need and what we care for. So I think really for college students and for anybody in general, it's talking to your legislator. It's a public building. You can go in there, go through security, find out who represents you, and go and talk to them, express your concerns. Now, unfortunately, they may or may not listen, but again, while it is your responsibility, it's also a part of your legislator's responsibility to represent you as their constituents. So again, taking advantage of this public building, going in there, advocating for yourself and saying, hey, I'm a student at NC A&T, I'm a student at NC Central, and I don't like the fact that my polling site got taken away or it's at threat of getting taken away. So again, while it is our responsibility, it is also our legislators, and we should feel confident enough and sure enough in ourselves that we can go in there and talk to them about what we need for our communities.
I was just going to add on, I think it's also our professors and our school administrators' responsibility. They have a responsibility to make sure that we are getting the best out of our education. I think that includes knowing how to vote and being able to vote. They have a responsibility to us students, and I hope that they take it upon themselves to defend our campuses.
Along the same vein, I guess, how do you think that students can organize or mobilize to push back against these changes? I know you mentioned coming to the legislature, talking with professors. Are there any other strategies to mobilize students to still vote?
I think just us coming together, because they can't deny the numbers, and I think we have a great tool of social media. With, like she said, the vast amount of media that we have the tools and opportunities to really get our voices out there. And I think that's just important as students of the youth, just using our voices through different platforms and different ways to really just advocate for the different things that we see going around and to advocate for our voices to continue to be heard.
Also, what advice would you give to fellow students who feel discouraged or disempowered about the issues surrounding access to voting sites on campus?
I would say take that disappointment, take that anger, take that frustration, and take it to the polls. Take it to social media. Take it to the legislature. Take the feelings that you have because you don't have access to voting. Take that and turn that into action. You can be angry and frustrated all you want, but unfortunately, real change will be made when you advocate for yourself, when you take that action, whether it's marching, whether it's protesting, whether it's coming to the legislature. You can't just be upset. You have to do something with that feeling and make sure that there's actual change being made. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
What does protecting student voting rights look like to you moving forward?
I think just assisting our campus and other campuses that have been badly affected by this. Like I mentioned, Elon University has Elon Votes. It's a student-run organization that not only educates our students on how to vote, where to vote, but it also provides the polling site. And I think for the campuses that are still privileged enough to have a polling site, I feel like we should start inviting other campuses that do not in order to make sure that at least there's a student polling site that they can go to. It's unfortunate that this is happening in our country, but when you vote, you make a change. And people cannot vote if they can't get to the polling site.
Thank you. And then I'll let you all close with this final question. If you could speak directly to policymakers, what would you want them to understand about student voters?
One thing I would say is sometimes it's not that students don't vote because they don't care, but students haven't been engaged. Some students, again, didn't grow up in families that were civically engaged or politically active. So don't think, oh, young people don't vote because they don't want to vote. Young people don't vote because they don't care. Have you tried talking to them? Have you tried engaging them and saying, hey, this is why you should vote. This is why your vote is important and you need to go to your polling site and make sure that you're letting your voice be heard. So again, I really think it's making sure that while you may not understand somebody's reason, try to talk to them, try to engage with them, and make sure that you just talk to them, say, hey, are you registered to vote? You can start off there. Are you registered to vote? If you're not, let's get you registered. Let's find a way to get you registered. Are you inactive? Are you an active voter? Where's your precinct? Where's your polling site? Just talking to people and talking to students and help them understand that if you want to vote, these are the reasons why, and don't just automatically assume that young people don't vote because they don't care.
So my roommate works in our Office of Leadership and Civic Engagement at the university. And while I love him dearly, he gets on my nerves the way he pushes our friend group to make sure we vote. And I think that as young people, that's how we have to be. Because for these lawmakers, I think they need to understand that there is a generation of young people who, we might give you these 4 years while we're in school and you took the poll. Don't worry about it. When we buy this house with the degree we just got, we're coming for your seat. Like, we're not even going to run for the polls. We're just going to run for the seat, right? So you got away with it for now, but we coming for you.
Okay, well, thank you so much to all of our wonderful panelists. Could we all give them a round of applause again? Thank you.
Y'all did a good job. All right, so at this time we have heard critical information on how we can forge ahead as members of the Divine Nine and advocate on issues that are affecting our communities. At this time, I want to briefly introduce you to a servant leader, one who is leading the charge on key issues and fighting with unshakable courage and vigor so that every North Carolinian can have the best outcomes and quality of life, civically, socially, and economically. A man who is a leader to the lost, a voice to the voiceless, and a catalyst for change. Please assist me in giving a rousing applause for the 76th governor of the state of North Carolina, Governor Josh Stein.
Thank you. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Goodness, good afternoon, everybody. Judge Reinhardt, thank you for the introduction and the good welcome. Marcus Bass, thank you for your leadership and helping to coordinate all of this. Greetings to all of the representatives of the National Panhellenic Council. I know you all have had the privilege of hearing from a number of important North Carolinians earlier today. Are there any legislators out in the crowd? They're going back to do their work. I'm glad to hear that. We are fortunate to have so many dynamic leaders in North Carolina and dynamic organizations like the Divine Nine. It is my honor to recognize your leadership and rich legacy. Your organizations have been pillars of strength and solidarity in our community for many decades. From advocating for civil rights to promoting education and empowerment, the impact of the NPHC can be felt all across this state. I've been honored to collaborate with and learn from leaders from these organizations over my years as a state senator. I used to work right behind us, and as Attorney General, and I continue to learn and benefit from D9 leaders now that I am the governor. Whether it is my Secretary of Military and Veterans Affairs, Jocelyn Millette, a proud AKA, as is Tracy Lovett, the Director of Constituent Engagement, or Jasmine McGee, my Deputy Chief of Staff and a proud Delta, or Tori Jessup, my Senior Advisor for Digital Experience and a quintessential Q, or Walter Bowers, the Director of my Charlotte office and a Sigma man. Their dedication to service embodies the organizations they came from. And my goodness, they are talented. And folks, we need talent more than ever. Last week, I had the privilege of hosting Representative Jim Clyburn of South Carolina at the Executive Mansion. Representative Clyburn, as you all know, is a longtime member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. And he came to talk to us about his new book, The First Eight. It's about the first 8 black congressmen who were elected to the U.S. Congress during Reconstruction after the Civil War. But because of Jim Crow, it took nearly a century until the people of South Carolina were able to send their 9th African-American congressman, and that was Jim Clyburn back in 1993. So he talked about how much progress we've made, but he also discussed many of the ways in which we are backsliding as a nation, how we're having to revisit battles that we thought had been won and passed beyond. The work of so many over so many generations feels at risk. The future of our rights and our democracy itself feels uncertain. But as we've discovered time and time again in our history, progress is not linear, it is not permanent, it's certainly not easily won. No, the hard work of winning progress falls afresh to each generation, and now it is our turn. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., we must walk on in the days ahead with an audacious faith. How do we keep that faith? Instead of only focusing on the distance ahead of us, we must take pause and look back and remind us of how far we have come. Those gains were hard won. So many people have experienced pains far greater than ours today, but they did not give up. They struggled to make this nation better, fairer, and more just. And we must also follow the advice of this very conference. We must forge our future together. Later this week, on Sunday, we are going to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Halifax Resolves. It's the date on our state flag, April 12th, 1776. That was the first official act by any colony to officially declare independence from the king. It's where we earned our title, the first in freedom state. The delegates at that North Carolina Congress in Halifax took an audacious action, something that had never been done before anywhere on the planet, and failure, if they had not succeeded, would have been fatal. It was treason what they did. Their motivations were complex. After all, some of them signed on in order to defend slavery. But their actions helped to inspire, just fewer than 3 months later, the Declaration of Independence. That document, as we all know, declared that all men are created equal. Even if it was not true at that moment, those words served as an inspiration for this country and this world for hundreds of millions of people. Our patriot forebears had the vision to believe that they could govern themselves, and they had the wisdom to do that work together. The same was certainly true of the leaders of the civil rights movement. They drew inspiration from those foundational documents to combat the painful segregation that plagued our nation. They linked arms and they pushed our state forward and our nation as well. We must exercise the same vision and the same wisdom as those who came before us. We must first, however, believe that a stronger state and a more perfect union is possible. Here is what I believe. If you work hard, where you come from should never limit how far you can go. That is the promise of North Carolina. And delivering on that promise is what drives me as your governor, just as I know it drives so many of you in your daily lives. We must deliver by keeping an audacious faith. An audacious faith that we can grow our economy and make it work for more people. An audacious faith that we can make North Carolina's public schools the envy of this nation and our teachers the best paid in the Southeast. An audacious faith that we can keep people safe at the same time we protect their constitutional rights. An audacious faith that folks can have clean air to breathe and clean water to drink. An audacious faith that our children will not have to go to bed at night with hunger pangs in their belly. An audacious faith that sick people can go see the doctor no matter how much money they earn. I have faith that we can forge this future together. So I wish all of you great success in your visit here to Raleigh and in our collective work ahead. And I look forward to partnering with you all in the months and years to come as we work to build a North Carolina that is safer, stronger, and more prosperous with real opportunity for every single person. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. Thank you.
All those papers are flying away. Okay, we're preparing for the final activity, the final session for today. And before we go into it, there is just one point of privilege I want to take. We are a nonpartisan body, all of us are. But just for information's sake, since he mentioned Jim Clyburn and the first 8, in North Carolina this year, there's something historic, there's a historic possibility happening here. We have, this is not an endorsement, but for information's sake, we have 7 black candidates who are candidates for the U.S. Congress. Not primary, 7 black candidates going into the general election. 3 of them are incumbents, 4 are Divine Nine. From all over across this state, and they each, if the right thing is done, and we do our best to mobilize, not for necessarily party, but for people to understand, to vote in their best interests, what's right for them, they each have a chance to be elected. 7 black candidates. I dare someone, if there's a history person here, to go back to the time of Reconstruction to see if that was ever the case. 7 black candidates. Do y'all hear me? Do y'all hear me? Do y'all hear me? Who's from the west side of Charlotte? Who's from the Brunswick and Wilmington? Who's from District 1? Who's from District 3? Who's from District 4? Who's from District 12? Who's from District 7? Who's from District 14? Who's from District 5? 7 black candidates. We have to mobilize. Now with that, at some point in time, there will be the QR code that Representative Reeves showed to us this morning. And without further ado, I want to have Brother Jermaine Kearney from Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity to come up with our call to action.
When I was asked to give the charge to the audience, I was a little concerned because I wanted to make sure that what you left with today was something that you can take with you. You've heard so much today and you got to now mull over it all day, but I wanted to leave you with something. I wondered, what could I possibly say that you would hear, carry with yourself, and use this point of growth to learn, to stretch, and to be better? And I said, Jermaine, why not you? What better person to remind us, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? What better person to declare, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me? Not with my neighbor, not with the system, but with me. What better person to cry out, God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far along the way. What better person to stand flat-footed and say, you make a difference. You can rise higher. You can be better than yesterday. You do matter. You are important, not because of the titles, not because of the applause, but because you are here. What better person to remind us when you cut me, I bleed the same red blood that you bleed. What better person to confess? We have all come short. We have all fallen. We have all been in need of grace. And what better person to testify? I don't know about tomorrow, but I know who holds tomorrow. What better person to proclaim, God bless America, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. And sometimes forming that union requires courage. Sometimes it requires sacrifice. Sometimes it requires getting into good trouble. What better imperfect person to stand before you today and say that things making you reflect on your past, examine your present, and boldly shape your future. What better imperfect person to look you dead in the eye and say, I see your greatness. To tell my young sister, to tell my young brother, you are not defined by the color you present. You are defined by the character you exude. You are defined by your integrity, your compassion, and your courage. So today, I stand before you and I declare, you matter. We matter. And the real difference begins with you. Not next year, not when you feel ready, not when someone gives you permission, but now. So go forth. Stand taller. Love harder. Lead better. Make a better difference, because truly our cause speeds on its way.
At this time, we'll call Reverend Charis Riddick to the podium of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for our closing prayer. And then we'll be followed by, you can get together for your individual pictures after that, and then have legislative visits. Reverend Riddick.
Good afternoon. As we prepare to pray, can I ask, to the extent that you're comfortable, that you grab the hand of your sister or your brother next to you? Hallelujah to God. What a great afternoon. What a great day this has been. Amen. Amen. So we're going to begin to pray all over this place, all under and outside this tent. We're locking arms as a sign of solidarity and in this place of unity. And so, Father, in the name of Jesus, God, we thank you for this day. It is indeed the day that you have made, and we make the conscious decision to rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you now, Father, for the challenge that was issued to us today to even be here. God, we heard the clarion call to not only show up, but to speak up. Father, we thank you not only for the challenge to be here, but for the compassion that we have in our hearts toward our communities and the issues that are relevant to our collective cause. Father, we thank you for the courage to show up. God, and we thank you for the call, Lord Jesus, not just a call to our individual organizations, but our call to be submitted, our call to action, and that call is without competition. Father, I thank you for the call to raise our voices, to ensure that we don't just wear colors, but we embrace, even within our organization's principles, the idea that we maximize kingdom and community impact. We thank you, Father, that in this work you grant us favor, but we also demonstrate our faith and our work so that we will cause the change that we so fervently champion. We come against every entity and principality that seeks to prevent progress in the name of Jesus. Father, we take the momentum from today and we go onward, upward, and forward to declare, oh God, the works of our hands. They are the Lord's
God's doing, and they are marvelous in our eyes. So we thank you now for all that's been said and done. We thank you for what we'll take back to our chapters. We thank you what we'll take back to our regions. We thank you for what we will take back and do for our communities. In your strong name, Jesus, we pray. Amen and amen.
Yeah. Now, individual pictures, and then you can do your legislative visits. God bless.